Enjoy 12 days of chess heaven at the Chessable Sunway Sieges International Chess Festival. Escape to the sun this December and take part in the spectacular Chessable Sunway Chess Festival situated in Sieges, near Barcelona. Play alongside top GMs including Ivanchuk, Isipenko, Adiban, and more. 10-round open tournaments with over 27,000 euros in prizes. Chess lectures from GMs most days, beer tasting plus sushi, pizza, paella, and cocktail masterclasses. World Cup watch parties, table tennis, table football, and blitz chess tournaments. Even better, Chessable Pro members play for free. You can find out more by going to Sunway Siege's website. Visit chessable.com/sunway.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, and welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third edition of the prestigious MrDodgy Invitational. I am apparently MrDodgy, and I'm joined today with Grandmaster Peter Svidler. Peter, how are you today?
Excellent.
Are you excited to be here?
Very much so.
Are you excited to play tomorrow as well?
Somewhat less so, but yeah, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, I've the true professional that I am, I've only really seen the lineups about an hour ago, including the one I will be playing in tomorrow. And yeah, you have to applaud MrDodgy for somehow cajoling this caliber of people to partake in this activity.
I'm pretty pleased with the field at the moment. We've got two pools playing in this year's event. We've got 32 players. Today's event does have a late replacement.
Yeah,
so we were supposed to have David Howell, who unfortunately is on vacation at the moment, and his internet was not entirely reliable. But he has been replaced by Magnus Carlsen, the world champion of chess, still. At the moment.
Still, at the moment, yes. Who is on the same vacation, I'm guessing, but his internet is somehow more stable, or?
I don't think he is on the same vacation. Maybe? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know why I have this.
That's a very suspicious conspiracy theory you've just dropped on us.
I in my headcanon right now seems to suggest they're completely inseparable, but maybe that's not actually true.
Yeah, so the games are about to start in any minute now. So which game would you like to look at first?
Well, I mean, the temptation to look at Magnus's games every round must be quite strong. And he is actually playing against Ralph. And that's a bit of a grudge match these days, right? With the whole G5 fiasco happening.
Yeah,
so
there was some controversy where I think Ralph played 1 e4, Magnus played 1 g5, and then Ralph resigned.
Ralph just resigned, yeah. And I mean, Ralph gave a statement on the topic, which I thought was, in particular, because it is a tournament with pretty decent money prizes, I thought was an interesting one. And made me kind of like and respect Ralph for even more than I already did by that point, because I thought, just stating outright that he doesn't like being taken the mickey out of, and even if it hurts his chances in the tournament he was doing quite well, and he doesn't really want to participate in that, is something you don't see very often. I say that as somebody who very happily played a bunch of bishop b5 h5 Sicilians against Magnus with no qualms whatsoever. So
yeah, but he has played a more serious opening today.
Mm-hmm.
He's played 1g3, so like he seems to be tryharding today. This is very unusual.
A little bit, yeah. Little bit, and the current position is extremely sharp. And Ralph, we've kind of missed a bunch of games, but the last move here is knight c4 takes the pawn on a5, which is obviously the tactical resource here is rook takes a5 c5, attacking both the rook on a5 and the knight on g4. I'm guessing Magnus is considering playing something like e4 e5 here, trying to make things even sharper, but in the end he does go for the more logical line of taking and going rook a4, intending of course to recapture with the rook, and now e4 e5 is a huge big threat. So Ralph will have to have something very immediate right here, or otherwise I think his position might just be busted, and the pawn d6 is a weakness. And queen 7 looks logical, but even something like bishop b2, or perhaps just a preemptive rook d4, d3 to sidestep some knight h5 counterplay. But yeah, this is a much more, compared to the one move e4 g5 game, this is an actual game of chess, which we must welcome. Rook c4 is a very concrete idea as well. Yeah, I like this. Obviously, queen b6 check is always going to be met with bishop b3, so the queen goes to a5. If white takes on d6, there is currently bishop e6, to which you could reply rook c5. It's all a mess, but to my eyes, it feels like white absolutely must be better here. The question is whether it's already a large enough advantage that black doesn't really have a way back, or it's still somewhat playable. I can't really judge. Let's talk about the format a little bit, because this is your brainchild, so you must be very happy with this.
So I wanted to double the amount of players this year, but I didn't want to do it just as a straight knockout, because a lot of people don't get very many games that way, and I thought this would be a more fun way to do it. So we have 2 group stages of 16 players, and the top 8 of them will go through to the knockout.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that they'll play a knockout of last 16, which will be 12 game matches of 5+0. The same as last year, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be a pretty long event, all things considered. The top 16 will be played over 2 days. There will be 2 days of the preliminaries, and then 2 days for the top 16. And I assume from then on, is it 1 or 2 days from top 8 to the final?
Top 8, top 4, top 1. So it'll be 3 days. So over the next 7 days, the whole thing.
So this okay.
Goes for the week.
Yeah. It's I keep on underestimating just how long this thing is. But I mean, as Dodgy somewhat ridiculously is claiming, even in personal DMs where he can be sincere, so he absolutely is not obliged to say those absolutely ludicrous things. The more chess, the better, apparently, is the motto here.
Yeah,
definitely. I don't know where he got this idea from, but yeah, this is what he's going with. In the meantime, Magnus has made, I think, significant progress. At some point, it looked like the queen on a1 might just die. It didn't, but white has very, very, very solid grip on the game. And the knight on h5 might just get picked up with g3, g4 pretty soonish.
This could be a very historical moment, because this could be Magnus's first ever win in the MrDodgy Invitational.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point. Well made. I just wanted to say that this is going to be a pretty fast-moving event. The time control is 5-0, so we do get, pretty cleanly, 10-minute rounds all the way through. But I do have the Twitch chat open, so if you have things to say, we will welcome an opportunity to reply to them. Once again, I'm making statements.
Yeah, I'm mostly here to read the chat. my main existence. So
Well,
natural
rook c3,
habitat.
yeah, this probably is end of game. So let's switch to something else here. Magnus does start with the victory over Rauf. And since I am playing tomorrow, I briefly considered I'm still considering streaming it tomorrow. And I thought, maybe, qualifying what you need to do is just finish in the upper half of the field. Which, you start by feeling that maybe this is doable. And then I looked at the field and I thought, even without streaming, like there are no guarantees in this field, I might still do it. So what are we watching? Some games are seemingly only just beginning. So let's pick one of those.
I'd like to watch Simon against Vincent Keimer.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That looks like a
that was a very Simony type Dutch where there was a brief interesting moment there where Simon here opted for g7, g5, which I think is a very Simony type move. It was replied to with takes, and queen d5 check. And it looked for a moment there, to my eyes, that black might just be completely busted because knight e5 is a huge threat. Let's say if you play king h8, we can actually take on e5 because the bishop on e7 falls at the end. Mm-hmm. But Simon did find, I think, the correct response, which is rook f7, and the current position doesn't look clear at all. The central pawns got broken up, but this construction is not stupid at all, as long as we find a way to deal with the threat of d5, d6. And yeah, he's gone for this, which I don't like very much. Now I think he might be in a bit of trouble because c7 is hanging and g4 is hanging, and we do have some counterplay with rook f8, but it currently seems to be falling short because rook c7 creates a lot of threats. And if we have to give up the pawn on g4, we are probably not going to be enjoying things very much. So yeah, Vincent seems to be in control. Yeah. In other news, yeah, some games, I'm guessing round one we still have some kings to iron out. Maybe people were late logging into their accounts or something. So, for instance, and just briefly to show you what's going on, Dubov Plichta is this, which we might actually watch because this sounds like fun.
Yeah, these guys are fantastic players. They're both two of the people that I would always watch play chess. So I'm quite happy to see them play each other.
Yeah, I mean, White already has achieved probably the most you can achieve from venturing h4 and move 4 on move 2, because if you actually force black to recapture with the f pawn, a great deal of positions have instantly become a lot more attractive for the white player here. So yeah, I think a very enjoyable position generally, and I don't think allowing e4, e5 is such a great thing to do. The engines weren't actually hating the position after bishop g7 at all, which was surprising to me. I thought that the edge white procures by forcing hg, fg should be enough. So yeah, in today's field, since we are really, even with me doing my usual maniacal self and jumping between games, there's no way we're going to be able to cover the field very much. So let's at least name the players playing. In round one, we have Alexander Grishuk, who is currently much better with the white pieces against Eric Rosen. We have this game between Dubov and Plichta. We have Vincent Keimer basically winning his game against Simon Williams. Jordan van Foreest is seemingly in a lot of trouble against Hugo ten Hertog, a player I am not very familiar with. Can you tell me something about Hugo?
I know he appears to be very active on Twitter because that's how he qualified.
Okay. Actually, I was wrong about the huge trouble, but he will make a draw against Jordan with the black pieces here, which I think is maybe no. Okay, I'm blundering everything. He will not actually make a draw with black against. That's actually let's just switch there for a second, because this is a very interesting geometrical position. I picked it up here with the threat of queen takes h4 happening. So bishop e1, queen e1 happened, fg, and now rook h3 is coming in. But after fg, you suddenly realize the queen f4, bishop e5 is unavailable. And in the end, Jordan went rook d7. And now black apparently has enough counterplay by giving a check from g3, and which was an important detail instead of what Hugo played, because now white actually avoids the perpetual and should just be winning.
Yeah, Hugo qualified. I did a tweet that said the first Grandmaster who replied to the tweet gets to play, and he was the quickest. So well done to him. I respect that.
Well done to Hugo. In other news, Alampi shot beat Bador Jabava. Gwen Jones is playing a piece down position seemingly against Ivan Salgado, and the game between Luis Paulo Stupi and Adiban finished in a draw. So what are we watching? Sasha, yeah, I guess we're watching this. This is the quirkiest position of all the positions we have so far. And yeah, Dubov is back to being better because this bishop on f5 is a bit, I mean, it looks fine, but in fact, the knight on c3, I think, is just stronger, and bishop b5, which I assume will happen, both the end games and the middle games. I think the somewhat weird-looking king on f1 is still safer than a king on c8 in positions like this. This is a very Dubovian move, by the way, rook h4 here. Just saying, you know, I can play something sane, or I can just give you this exchange because I want to, you know, swing the king over to c4, or play some kind of bishop g3, rook f4 plans just to try and give you immediate mate. So yeah, very, very kind of a cute and attractive little idea there by Dubov. He follows up with king g1, which is a bit slow, but his compensation is always going to be very, very good here because of just how monstrous this bishop on e5 is.
Yeah, and the engine likes it as well.
Yeah, so the engine says it's pretty decent, yeah. And g5, I mean, it's a kind of an understandable, slightly panicky move you make because you don't really know what to do against the threats. But now after queen c4, your queen side is starting to fall apart. So yeah, I think Daniel is a large favorite here, as the doggo gets spooked by some sounds outside of this room and leaves, which is very sad.
But I do like Camille's background. I think he has an incredible background.
I can't see it well enough.
He has the picture of me on a horse as his background.
Oh, that is a very, very good background. Yeah, that's fair. Something that we all aspire to have, but don't. Yeah, now rook b1 seems winning, queen b4 followed by a4. Basically anything followed by a4 seems completely winning because the queen side will just get completely evaporated. Yeah. And now I guess if after c3 you take with the queen, I guess white has some sort of c6 mating ideas. Yeah. A number of ways to win here. I think the biggest problem for black is that apart from the queen trade, which of course you never ever even contemplate here, with white, nothing is hanging, so you can even play queen e6 as the machine suggests, with queen b6 ideas, which are completely unstoppable because in fact everything is perfectly protecting, all the pieces are protecting each other perfectly here. Yeah, this is just winning. Is there anything else we should be watching?
Still the Gawain against Salgado.
Yeah, but that is very over. There's going to be a rook up in a moment.
That's the last game that's continuing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just these two.
So chat is kind of wondering if Magnus is a permanent replacement or whether he will step aside and let David play the knockouts once he qualifies.
I don't believe David's going to be able to play. So
was that a mate in one that we just didn't give? By the way, yeah, that appears to be a mate in one that we decided not to give for some reason. But I mean, it doesn't really change the evaluation very much. But it does kind of remind me of watching my son play Bullet on his phone and me screaming at him, "Give mate in one, please."
The queen just went a little bit too far.
A little bit too far, yeah. But
yeah, so I don't know if Magnus is going to be able to play in the knockout stage. It's not totally clear at the moment. But if he's not able to play, then his spot will go to the next person on the list.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, I don't think David's going to be able to come back into the tournament, unfortunately, because he did play the first two editions, so that's a shame. But next year he'll be back.
Absolutely. And yeah, queen a7, I think, okay, Camille decided that, you know, this is a bit too BMy for him to continue. I think Camille also realized there was a mate in one, and he thought maybe that Daniel not giving him mate in one with like a minute and a half on the clock was maybe an indication that he thought his position was too enjoyable for the game to end. And he just promptly resigned anyway.
So the next round should actually start kind of now.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So hopefully...
So we have Rosen Ajiban, Salgado Lopez against Paulo Supi, Abadur Jabava playing the 1b3 opening against Gwen Jones, Rauf against Pichot, Hugo and Herzog against Magnus Carlsen, Simon against Jordan, Plichta Kaimar, and Grishuk Dubov. I'm voting Grishuk Dubov.
Grishuk Dubov seems like a good pick.
Yeah, that seems like a good game. That seems like a good game.
But Dubov might be a little bit slow to start because he just finished his game.
Yeah, we'll wait. I mean, everything else is also sort of one move in. Nobody appears to be replying to the moves that have been made, so we're not very far behind. I assume it will get ironed out as the tournament progresses. I'm also hoping I will be able to keep up with it tomorrow because I'm not entirely sure how this is being run.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, and the game is starting, yeah. So a very, very on-point question in chat there. Bill Berlin is asking, so did Magnus say, if I qualify for the finals, I'm not going to play, I don't like the preparation, I don't like it's a good format? Which I think is very on point.
I think his words were, I might be busy. So we'll see.
And Jordan against Simon, there's a lot of hanky-panky going on because Jordan just essayed this opening against Simon. Which I think is, you know, I'm generally in favor of taking the Mickey, but this is taking a Mickey a little bit too much, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is a very, like, I think maybe against some players you can do this against, but against Simon,
actually, the position is somewhat playable. I mean, obviously, white is better, but this is not like when you see this, you expect this to just be straight up loss, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just much worse. Because, like, you know, for us Budapest players, this is a kind of a, you know, extra shitty Budapest, no? Like
yeah, I guess so.
Budapest is already kind of shitty, but I mean,
how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
I played a ton of it when I was a kid. I'm allowed.
Yeah, this. I like Simon's position here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Simon is doing really, really. What it actually reminds me of the most by this point is some of the Bishop C5 scotches horribly misplayed by black and sometimes look like this. I had a game like this against a good friend of mine when we were much younger.
We shouldn't jump around too much, but Magnus is also doing weird stuff against Ten Hertog. So
yeah.
We should...
Yeah, I mean, this is actually less weird. He went c4, b6, which does exist, and e4, e5, I'm sure, is a move you can make, and knight g2. Okay, I mean, the interesting move here is f5, of course. And the question has to be, what do you do if white just says, you know, I will reply to your, you know, subtle blunder with a blunt recapture and just go ef. But then Hertog instead went d4, fe, d5, which also is kind of very endorsable. Knight f6, knight g3, I assume. Knight g3, bishop b4, though. So you actually have to prepare the recapture on e4 by doing something like bishop g5, I suppose. This looks very nice for white, to be honest. Looks very, very nice. But yeah, Magnus, as is probably also the case with Jordan, these days when people do these types of really outrageous things, they don't do them entirely kind of willy-nilly. They normally have looked at them for like half an hour and know at least a little bit about the pitfalls and like what to absolutely avoid and what is semi-playable.
Yeah, I think Magnus definitely spends a lot of time on nonsense openings, or he has people to spend a lot of time on nonsense openings. Maybe that's more accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, knight g3 is kind of an interesting choice here. I would have just taken on e4. You didn't really need to do it this way, but it's still a very pleasant position. Just take on e4, go bishop d3, castle short. And yeah, there's apparently we may have had some Chad is saying Grishuk has been gesturing at the camera for about a minute now, and some things aren't exactly right, but we don't know. We don't know what could have happened there. Okay, so yeah, now Magnus is just doing completely fine, I guess, because Ten Hertog just spent a little bit too much time preparing to take on e4 and hasn't actually taken on e4 yet, which gave Black a bunch of time to achieve favorable trades and finish development. Why are they still not wars? But yeah, you're definitely not going to be in a lot of trouble here with Black.
Yeah, it looks like Grishuk might have disconnected for a little bit, but he's back now. He's mid-move.
Yeah. I know Sasha will not really be doing it on his own, so I will get some excuses of his in early and say that, I've spoken to him yesterday and he's not entirely well. So yeah, we're thankful for him sort of soldiering on, but
yeah, I'm very glad that he was able to play. I know he's not 100% at the moment, but he is a very special player, so I was very happy.
Yeah, it's always very nice to see him play, and he did become kind of significantly more enthused about the whole thing the longer we spoke. So I think he is now pretty interested in this tournament. So let's hope that he feels better, because yesterday he really did sound like he's had better days. This is back to being kind of okay for Ten Hertog. For a moment there, it looked like Magnus might be just completely taking over, but this is sort of fine. Eventually, we will take this pawn on e4. The queen side is completely dead. You can't really. The engine really dislikes this trade, by the way. I mean, not the trade, the capture on e4. It says that giving the bishop the f5 square may have been ill-advised, and you were kind of better off just completely ignoring the pawn on e4 for a time. But it's still a very solid position. Like, you can definitely imagine something like this happening eventually. But even if that rook lands on d4, White's position is still sort of rock solid. So even if you do imagine all of that occurring, it's absolutely not guaranteed that White, will be in a lot of trouble. He is running a bit low on time, though, which is something you probably don't want to be doing against Magnus.
Yeah, and there is no increment, so there is going to be quite brutal flagging. This is Jan's insistence from the first MrDodgy Invitational that there should be no increment. He doesn't like it. He wants to see people getting flagged all the time. I kind of endorse it, to be honest. I think over the board, it's a bit too messy.
Yeah, there's a lot of we've all seen those videos, and I don't think very many people actually enjoy it very much. The videos of pieces flying around and people kind of banging on clocks and fingers being bloodied and all that. There's a very, very curious, like, somebody is giving mate here. The question is whether it's white or black. It should probably be white, but if it's not, c1 is actually mate in one, and even c1 bishop is a mate in one threat. So rook g7 currently is apparently mate in 16. I can see on my screen, but you have to see it. You have to realize, because I think the point is, after knight takes g7, what wins is rook a8, not rook takes g7. This is what wins. And now you can give a very cute knight f7 mate instead of very brutal. Yeah, and this is actually what is going to happen. Please play. Yeah, thank you, Ralph. Ralph actually does all of that. So we can go back to Magnus's game, I guess. Whoa, that's a major mistake, which Magnus did not spot. But even so, such a weird choice. Like, you're choosing here between rook d2 and rook b1, and I think it's just a very strange choice to be playing rook b1 in general. But he explains it with his follow-up, because he has gone for b6, opening up the structure. But unfortunately for him, his structure got dismantled a lot faster. So Magnus probably will be winning quite comfortably from here.
Yeah, this one looks
this one is not very interesting. This will probably end up being a draw. This is that wild opening that we've seen in the game between Simon Williams and Jordan van Foreest, where Jordan will get away with it, but he will not be able to win the game. In other results, we have Vincent, if he doesn't get flagged, probably beating Kamil Plichta. The Grishuk-Dubov game is developing very, very slowly. Badur is in a lot of trouble against Gwen Jones. Adiban beat Rosen, and Salgado beat Supi.
And Salgado's on 2 out of 2 now.
Yeah. I don't think I will be. I was actually kind of planning to create some kind of an Excel spreadsheet with the scores. But obviously,
I just go to chess24.com.
This thing has a web page, right? So we should probably, and by we I mean I.
Yeah, if anyone else is watching, you can go to chess24.com and there's a cross table. And
Yeah,
all the pairings and the boards.
Cross table is
engines
nice.
And educational video series.
Absolutely. Do we maybe have a link for that we could put in chat? Hang on a second. I could probably find it.
Oh yeah. Would you
post
like
it
that?
in chat. No, I can probably figure it out. Because we should be very high up, right? But we never are. Like, it never is exactly how you expect it to be. There it is.
That is life.
I found it.
So that is all of the games over. So there's only 3 people on 2 out of 2. Salgado, Magnus Carlsen, and Vincent Keimer. Is it Keimer or Keimer? I'm never sure.
I'm pretty sure it's Keimer.
Okay. And then Keimer plays Grishuk in the next round.
Okay, let's go to round 3.
But Magnus plays Simon. No,
hang on a second. Grishuk's game was still going on, right? No, they drew. So the round is finished, right? I'm guessing there were some connection issues and they just found some kind of repetition here and decided that what with the time issues that, they're on very good terms, and probably if there was some sort of a disconnection issue, I'm pretty sure Dubov will be very okay with not trying to exploit it.
Yeah.
So Keimer Grishuk sounds like a decent game. Who is Magnus playing? Magnus is playing against Simon Williams. Ivan Salgado Lopez is playing black against Adiban. Pretty much every single board here is incredibly watchable, but we should pick one.
Yeah, I think Keimer against Grishuk, because Keimer's in the lead. And
yeah, let's go with that.
I mean, before Magnus, obviously, I guess Magnus is the favorite in every tournament, but before he played, I thought maybe Keimer might be the favorite for this one, because I think
in this field,
maybe close, like in form. I mean, like
I'm not entirely sure who's in form and who's not in like online blitz events, but I mean Dubov is extremely strong.
Yeah, okay. I mean Dubov and Grishuk also.
Yeah. I mean Sasha
can win everything. But...
Yeah, absolutely. But Sasha in particular, he actually mentioned it to me when we were speaking, because he's been on a bit of a downswing in general, and is also approaching sort of my levels of maybe not even sort of fake disgust with his own chess, which in his case is completely unjustified as opposed to mine, but still, like his interviews have begun sounding a bit like mine, which is a travesty. But he has qualified for the Speed Chat Championship finals by beating, I think, Duda, Shong, and another very, very strong player I am currently forgetting. And Jordan Van Fresco's won knight a3 against Plichta. So Jordan is like going full meme today.
Yeah, I endorse it.
Yeah, we're still not watching that game, but yeah, we are going to. And yeah, I saw something in chat which kind of made me momentarily speechless, because I wasn't sure what that was in reference to.
Yeah, I think I see which one you're referring to.
Yeah, like I wasn't entirely sure why that was suddenly being mentioned and what it meant, but yeah, thank you for making me even more flabbergasted than usual, Mountain Dude. Yeah, knight of 3, and Grishuk is once again perhaps a bit late in opening links, if that's how this works, because sometimes you have to open links to play games.
Yep, that is how this works.
Yeah, and then you can definitely understand why some games start a bit later than others, because if you have to switch between tabs and things of that nature, it does introduce some uncertainty into starting times. I guess Sasha's interview game is still 11 out of 10. It always is. Yeah, it's just that the general tenor of his interviews has become with regards to his own chess, has become a bit grim for my liking, because I always feel like he should be beating sort of whoever he plays. I rate him as a chess player extremely highly. Always have done, always will do, but
yeah, it always kind of surprises me when he even loses a match in Speed Chess Championship or something like that, because he feels like he kind of should be the favorite against everyone except maybe Magnus or Hikaru, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, but I think just mechanically he has become slower. So, and it definitely does impact your chances in events which rely. Can't we watch something? We are trying to watch something. My name is Legion, but yeah, let's maybe watch something else. Magnus played 7h4 against the accelerated dragon against Simon, which apparently is a move you can make. You learn something every day. And Simon replied with d5, and white is immediately better, apparently, because white is just a pawn up. And it does feel like, there is some kind of a fratricide going on here, because, beating Simon by essaying the Harry up the board as early as possible does feel like you're kind of rubbing it in a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. Makes sense, though.
Does make sense, absolutely, yeah. Queen g3, apparently not the most clinical of replies, but white is still better. And yeah, Simon is, I think, trying a little bit too hard, because I think if he didn't feel the urge to kind of reply in kind to what Magnus is doing, he would have played Queen g4 here, which is a very, very logical looking move, just kind of discombobulating white as much as possible, stopping long castles and all that. Instead, he's gone e5, e4, and even knight takes e4 very simply just gives white a large advantage. But yeah, I mean, this is surprisingly, this is not unplayable, considering that white, you could be excused for thinking white is just a kind of a healthy pawn up, but because the pawn is on h4 and not, for instance, h3, stopping both knight g4 and queen g4 counterplay, there is definitely going to be some compensation in most cases. So yeah. So do we stick with this one, or do we actually watch the game we wanted to watch?
Which one did you want to watch?
This one.
Yeah, let's switch to that one.
Yeah, so this is the Kaimar Grisha game, which finally did start, and Kaimar played the kind of a you normally call it e3 b3, but he actually has done without the move b3 until move 11 here, but the kind of closed opening without playing d4, which is very fashionable these days. It's a take on this opening I haven't seen before, but it's understandable.
How does Kaimar fit into your junior power rankings?
Somewhat below, the absolute beasts of the field, so to speak, but not very far below, and liable to shoot up at any moment. I rate him quite highly. I think he is a very strong player. He's also, I think, in very, very safe hands in terms of Peter Lecco as a mentor is something I think is very desirable to have in life, not just because of all the opening information Peter has at his fingertips, but also in terms of sort of approach to chess and general level-headedness and all that. But definitely for the time being, behind the Indian kids, and I would say Abdusatorov.
But ahead of Ali Reza. That's it.
Yeah, I got caught in that trap. Yeah, I don't think I think everybody kind of separates Ali Reza from the field when you're discussing that question.
Fair enough. No, I rate him quite highly. I think he might be the next one.
Yeah, I mean,
the next chosen one.
Yeah, he's not, right? He's not really older than them. He's younger than Arjun, I assume, and same age as Gukesh. Is he?
I don't know. They're also
so yeah. Chat says he just turned 18, which means
he's 18 now.
Yeah, so he is probably same age as Gukesh, and
no, Gukesh is 16. Gukesh is by far the youngest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's just unfair. People shouldn't be allowed to be B16. It's just not on.
Because she's the strongest 16-year-old in the world. But who's the strongest 18-year-old?
Hmm.
Sarov.
Probably Noribek, yeah. How is Noribek? Noribek is actually not playing in that thing, right? I also had that window open. And yeah, they're playing.
He's playing in the.
They're playing the other Noribek on board one.
Mm-hmm.
And the other Noribek is completely winning in the second game, which is extremely important because they lost the first half of the final to China. They might win the second one, forcing the tiebreak. We're talking about the world teams, of course, which is obviously pales in comparison to this event, but is still, an event that is going on right now.
Is still an event. What do you think about this Chinese team? Do you think they were very clever to just only send a team strong enough to win it?
Yeah, I mean, if they do end up winning with this lineup, it's a kind of an interesting kind of a bird to flip to the entire establishment, saying that
this is like the good horse only jumps as far as high as it needs to.
Like you'll score, bringing up another sporting event which is apparently going on right now. Not that I'm paying any attention, you'll score however many we will score however many we want. Kind of an approach here by the Chinese, right?
It does look like that. They're
yeah, absolutely. Because not to disparage this lineup, and they have been winning, but I wouldn't call this even China 3.
I checked. I think Lu Shanglei would be in the Chinese fourth team.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other three would be well out of the fourth team.
It's they're good players. We are watching them be good players. There's absolutely no doubt that they're pretty good at chess, but they could have sent any number of players higher rated than this. And if they do end up winning with this lineup, it's going to be quite spectacular. In the meantime, this is kind of a dry one. Magnus will win against Simon. He is kind of putting the finishing touches on that there. Whereas, Sasha, this is just very dry. I think we should probably switch to something else, unless things change dramatically. Hugo and Hertog, in the meantime, has beaten Alain Pichot with black. Rauf beat Gawain. Adipan Salgado was a draw. Supi beat Jabava. Jabava is having a bit of a nightmare. So what are we watching? There's nothing really very exciting that's still going on.
That was Rosen against Dubov. I guess we should.
Yeah, that's a more lively endgame. And Dubov is, I think Rosen was okay for a while, or as close to okay as can be. But now he's obviously in trouble and also not ahead on the clock. So how does he find the stalemate trap here? Yeah, it's gonna be difficult, I think. Yeah, and now Dubov realizes, that knight b5 still doesn't queen the pawn, and this is sort of an improvement. You can actually start seeing outlines of how you don't win this with white, but you still do, of course. But it now requires some thought. We got this endgame to a point where, king d4 there was maybe a draw for a second. It looked like the engineer. King d4 was just making a draw here. King d4, knight b5, and not king takes c4, but king c5, and black just holds. So this actually got to a point where white almost failed to win it, and now Dubov will have to demonstrate his technique of winning queen against king.
Do you think he knows this one?
Yeah, probably.
Worth a try.
Yeah, I don't know. Auto update failed me there for a second, but he did win it on, I assume, maybe 3 seconds left.
That's plenty. Okay, so now Magnus is only won on 3 out of 3. It's a surprise.
Can Peter comment on who created the Svidler on the roof ban? Existed, forever, as far as I'm concerned. I think there were articles like that in mid-90s New in Chess. So definitely not a recent phenomenon. Definitely doesn't date to a Lee Chess account of any kind. It's way, way older than that. I have absolutely nothing to do with it either. I wasn't aware this was a thing before people started making it a thing. Wait, that doesn't look like stalemate. You are absolutely correct, the higher space. This does not look like a stalemate.
It's close. It's not even that close, really.
Yeah.
A few more moves.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one ended in a draw. So in the next round, we have Eric Rosen against Salgado, Jobaba against Ariban, Ralph against Supi, Tim Hertog against Gawain Jones, Simon against Alan Pichot, Camille against Magnus. That could be fun. Or Chris.
Yeah, and Dubov Kaimar is, in terms of like the average rating of the players on the board, I guess it's probably either Dubov Kaimar or perhaps Grishuk van Forest, but let's wait until the openings begin.
Yeah, let's see what Jordan plays against Grishuk, because he's played some nonsense against lower rated players. Let's see if he does the same against Grishuk. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it could be fun to see. Yeah, exclamation mark format still leading to the Fisher and World Championship match is not very helpful.
No, we can change that though.
Yeah, there's an information tab there. Are you prepared to face the Kingbreaker Sam Sevian tomorrow? I don't know why those things are separated by a slash. Also, just no, whatever the meaning of that is. I'm just not ready.
You don't know what the meaning of that is?
Why? Ah, yeah, okay. Sorry.
He broke hands.
Yeah. I thought that was maybe his nickname on a website somewhere. Maybe it shouldn't. It should be now. Yeah, maybe he should just rename all his social media and, in particular, all of his accounts on chess platforms to Kingbreaker.
That's what I would do personally, but. Okay, so we have 1 minute until. So we're on track at the moment, scheduling wise, which is very exciting. The actual schedule says the game starts in 1 minute, so we could have run an ad. By Peter Grunfeld course is
an absolutely priceless opportunity to run an ad, yeah, which we shall still miss. So what's happening in? Oh,
nothing is happening. So yeah,
we could watch Kekwam instead, but we're not.
Is that football or
no?
Different sport?
Different sport.
We are clashing with apparently some kind of football match.
No, but the one that everybody, I assume, wants to watch today is the last one, right? So
let's not talk about that one, because I think we might lose one or two viewers. Hopefully everyone has two screens, because it is 2022. Yeah. Like, you can watch two different things at the same time. Absolutely. Anyone who's only watching the football is, frankly, at this point, a psychopath. Like, how can you just do one thing at a time?
Yeah, I'm just constitutionally incapable of doing that at all. Like, if not a single inch of my 3 screens is showing me something, I feel like I'm missing out, which is probably sort of explains my sharp decline in everything apart from percentage of screen occupied, which is a very important metric. Don't get me wrong, but everything else appears to be in sharp decline.
Yeah, it's hard.
Jordan played something normal. That's not on. I mean, the knight is still on c6, but that really isn't a mistake. It's fine.
No,
do we have anything?
He's intimidated by Grishuk.
Very much so. Who isn't? Yeah, not a single really crazy opening on any of the 8 boards, which I'm like severely. Actually, there is a pawn on h4 for some reason in Den Hertog against. So Den Hertog actually went c4, g6, h4 against Gwaine Jones, which is something I do not actually cover in my d4 repertoire, which is maybe a mistake. But after knight f6, he declined to transpose into the familiar territory with 3d4, played knight c3, and is now seemingly borderline lost after d7, d5 in this position. Maybe borderline lost is a bit strong. Actually, he's not even doing that poorly. I would still pick black, but it's interesting that knight d4 is not that strong. I assume the point is we take and we play bishop b2, and black's position is actually kind of very, very bad because of knight f6 coming in. But that will not happen.
Never give up that bishop. Never.
No, no. Yeah, Castle's played. I still thought d5 was pretty strong, but it wasn't as strong as I thought. And now we just have a game. You can play. The engine likes a kind of a double fianchetto here, because maybe in some really ideal worlds you get to develop that knight to f4, not f3. We'll see how. Whoa, that is one brave man. In particular against Gwaine, who does have some pedigree as a King's Indian player. Like, why are we inviting this?
He wants to win.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised Gwaine chose to, like, I think h5 could have just been ignored. If we go, let's say a5, h5, we don't have to react to it at all. I think we just go a4. We take with the f pawn, and we are just very, very. I think what we are doing on the queen side will just outpace what's happening on the king side here, but he disagrees. And now after knight g5 here, now if we get like e4, f3, and then maybe even g4, h5 later, like you start thinking that white is just faster suddenly. Yeah, interesting. The entire, I want to call it a gambit, even though it wasn't really a gambit at any point, might just pay off here for Den Hertog. Knight d5 is, back to me describing it as a brave move, because I think giving black a very free, kind of a safe opportunity to play a5, a4 is a little bit unnecessary. You should be playing this a bit safer. Yeah, I wonder if he just goes all in here with something like g2, g4. I don't really know enough about him as a player to venture a guess.
I think we know he's gone for this position, so
yeah, I mean,
we know something.
Yeah, it does give us a kind of a fair-ish clue as to what kind of a player he is. So I'm expecting some kind of a, I don't know, I want to describe it as a freak out, but maybe it's a bit unfair. Maybe the position already calls for something like that. And we've just played King b1, which is, yeah, this is probably not going to be very enjoyable long term, because with the A file open, we just appear to be behind in terms of, threads being developed. Interesting, Gwaine decides not to cash in the opening of the A file immediately, which is, I guess, still fine. You don't have to do everything at once. Kamil Plichter is not doing poorly at all against Magnus, by the way, if I understand this correctly. What's our policy? Like, we need to formulate a policy on just how much jumping I'm allowed to do.
You're allowed to jump as much as you want.
Okay, because this is interesting. Because
if you want to jump, jump.
Hang on a second. He's just winning.
He's winning. Come on.
He's just winning. Magnus? Because Magnus just kind of, this looks like a normal kind of position. Actually, it's not, but it looked like a normal position to me. And Magnus just spent a tempo picking up the b2 pawn, and after rook f7 he is realizing that the queen does not actually connect to the f8 square at all, so you will be losing pretty much everything here, including the knight on c5. Like, you're not getting mated, but you are going to lose the knight on c5 eventually.
This could be a very big win for Kamil.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the biggest win.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Can't really.
I wanted to say he once beat me, and it must have been a highlight, but now I feel that maybe it's
No, I mean, Kamil is, I think, still the FIDE master. He's about 2,400.
He's
but
a
he
very,
is an
he's a
incredibly
very
strong blitz player.
Yeah, just a very dangerous blitz player. I got absolutely destroyed in that one game I lost. We were playing? We were playing in maybe in the Streamers Cup, or
it was the Halloween,
or maybe the Halloween
think
thing.
the
Yeah,
first
the
year.
Halloween thing. Yeah.
he knocked
Quinn
out
takes-
Peter Heine Nielsen and then he played you.
Yeah. He realized he can pick up the pawn on f6 as well. Very kind of sharply done. Now we go queen. G6 is fine. D8, C7 is fine. Whatever we want to do here is fine. But we do have to do it faster, because eventually we will have to deal with the idea of the b pawn running, and we don't want to be overthinking it and leaving ourselves with a little bit too little time to win the absolutely winning position. Yeah, I don't like the tank. I like everything else about White's position, but I don't like the tank. It's a bit too much of a tank. Yeah, now he's going after the knight. I think he was trying to figure out if he can also like safely pick up the h pawn and then return to the good squares. I don't think he could have. So yeah, just doing this and kind of worrying about everything else later is correct. And the problem for Magnus is you pretty much can never play b3. That's unnecessary. It's still fine, but you could have just taken on c5. The point is the pawn on b3 is unprotected. So whenever you play b3, it just drops to the queen checks. So Magnus has to spend a tempo on something like queen b1, giving White time to start pushing his own passers, for instance, or king g2, bishop d3. But yeah, c5, c6 is just completely winning because you're giving mate. Yeah, I think you're okay just resigning this position, to be honest. And I mean, I would say that, but yeah.
And this is another historic moment, possibly.
Yeah.
It's Magnus's first loss in the MrDodgy Invitational.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's saving this game. Yeah, c7, c8 is a bit quick. Yeah, the eval bar is seemingly. I think I have everything clicked, but I don't know why it's not. Why it's not showing? Because like it's working on my main game, but not on the analysis game for some reason. It's on me, but. Yeah, it runs away. Yeah, you go king g2, f3, and then you run to h4. You still have to be a bit precise, but it's not very difficult. And then you just give mate. He has 30 seconds here, so I assume he'll be okay.
You have something to click to turn the engine on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
That is incredible.
Yeah, Kamil beating Magnus is obviously
He celebrates.
Very big result, and yeah, popping off there is appropriate.
It does look like Magnus is at home, by the way, because unless he travels with the Secret Labs chair.
And who wouldn't? I mean, what sane man would not travel with the Secret Labs chair if you have a Secret Labs chair? Yeah, this one will go down to dirty flagging because Vincent is now winning. Not anymore, but he was on 2 seconds, which provoked the horrible blunder, and now the a-pawn wins, and also Dubov is on 15 seconds against no seconds. Simon this is going to be a queen ending. Okay, a5 was a bit of a mistake because this one doesn't actually queen, so it becomes once again a clicking contest. I would be going after like take on b2, go kick. Why? What are you? You're on 4 seconds. What? Like middle-aged me is very, very upset by all of this. Yeah, just do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even attempting to give mate in that position tomorrow. Like I'm just snap taking on b2 and going king f4. Like there's no way. There's no way. Anything else running? We have a draw in Rosen against Salgado, which is, I think, the first half a point Eric scored in this tournament. Also, I think Bado Jabava.
everyone's scored at least half a point now. So
yeah,
it's good.
Bador was, I think, also on 0 out of 3, but has now beaten Ajiban. Ralph
We should do a little bit of
pretty
sellout stuff for Camille, because Camille does have a lot of Chessable courses, and he does recommend a lot of, if you like kind of exciting, aggressive openings, he has some very good repertoires.
Yeah,
I think one of his bundles is like the D4 for Mad Men bundle, which is like half Trompowski, half kind of crazy aggressive D4 C4 stuff. So you should probably check that out because it's very good. And you know,
absolutely, yeah, he's a very exciting author and an all-round nice guy, and yeah, and he's just beaten Magnus, so yeah, what's not to like? Dubov is now leading the tournament on 3.5 out of 4, half a point ahead of Magnus, Ralph, Salgado, and Jordan. Keimer and Grishuk are on 2.5 out of 4. Grishuk having made 3 draws and winning 1 game against Eric Rosen. So Sasha's playing a very, very solid,
very professional tournament.
Professional tournament, yeah, minimizing risks, you know, dealing with things as they come. And yeah, once again, Sasha probably would not appreciate me mentioning it all the time, but he is a bit under the weather, and conserving energy is, I think, a good strategy in these cases.
So Dubov's in the lead. He did win the last tournament that we commentated on together.
Oh yeah,
the Halloween tournament. So
yeah,
maybe we motivate him. Maybe he's inspired by us.
Let's assume that's why he's so good at chess. Is that at some point in his life path, he encountered us, and that you know.
Oh, we do have Magnus against Grishuk in the next round.
Yeah, that's what I have on screen, because that clearly is the game of the round. Sasha has a decent-ish score against Magnus. I'm pretty sure he's in the minus, but he's won some very important games against him over the years. In particular, I think the last round game of the World Rapid, right, in Saudi Arabia, where I think Vishy made a very quick draw in the last round, and people immediately started kind of piling on and saying, how can you do this? Because, you know, Magnus never loses to Grishuk with white, so you're basically running yourself out of contention for first. And then Magnus did lose to Sasha with white, and Vishy beat Fedoshev in a tie, in a play of 4 for first, if I remember the sequence correctly, but I'm pretty sure I do.
I don't remember, but I believe you in your memory.
Yeah, I lost the game fair and square, but I was kind of doing quite well for a moment there in my own game in that last round, and the victory in that game would have given me a place in that tie with Vishy, Fedoshev, and one more person. I can't remember who that person was.
Are you playing this year in the World Rapid and Blitz?
This is how it currently stands, yeah.
But before that, you're going to see chess.
Yes. Before that, I'm going to suggest to bask in the sun.
It's very exciting.
And also the warmth of Jan Gustafsson as a person, which is a lot of warmth.
Yeah, so you and Jan are going to commentate for 10 days in Spain instead of your usual 2 weeks on Wijk. I mean, I guess you don't usually go to Wijk, but the weather will be nicer.
It's a replacement. Whoa, okay, Magnus is doing things. This is probably not the most natural position for the move h4, but we've become very accustomed to it being playable everywhere. And
we are seeing a lot of h4s.
Yeah, this tournament does seem to be inviting it quite a bit. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what his intended follow-up is, because if you are going to just play Sicilian, in Sicilians, having the pawn on h4 is just going to be a huge drawback, because the bishop on g4 is going to be extremely annoying. So yeah, I'm wondering like what the response to, let's say, knight c6 is. Very interested in the next move, because if it's d3, then yeah, I'm not sure what we're trying to achieve here and why we're so happy with it. But as I mentioned, Magnus just kind of never does any of this without a pretty clear idea. And here, once again, like this is basically the, I once again forget what the opening is called. So you get these types of positions in which you've played h4, and this is a reverse Sicilian with a move h5 included. And I don't know if you're supposed to include h5, or you can do what Sasha has done and try to play a Sveshnikov. And once again, you kind of have to question whether you are so happy that your pawn is already here, because the bishop will land on g4 eventually, and you will not have any way at all to smoke it out properly. Yeah, don't think.
Yeah, I don't understand h4 in this position.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in love with this. Yeah, so basically, yeah, Magnus is just playing a Sveshnikov where, yeah, he's just gone h5 with black, meaning that castling kingside is going to be well nigh impossible. So we're playing all of the systems which allow us not to castle kingside. And actually, maybe you could make an argument that, like, this is an obvious turning point in the Sveshnikov as well. You can take on f3 immediately and force gf, or you can do it this way. Oh no, you take here, of course. Yeah, you don't take there. It's better to take here. And this position is kind of well known to be very good. And if you go gf as Magnus has done, this is a kind of a normal position, but once again, castling kingside is going to become a lot more difficult now that your pawn is not back on h2. You just go c6, knight c7, knight c6, the usual stuff. With a pawn on h2, it would have been a perfectly normal position for white, of course, but not to bang that drum too much. But
pawns don't move backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a reverse Sveshnikov with h4, but h4 is just a very harmful move in every single position here. Gukeli is just something you badly would like to take back.
Yeah, this looks very tricky for him now.
Yeah, even bishop e7, let's say you play h5, it continues being a target. Yeah, a5 is always pretty good. Like, it's never going to be a mistake to start also banging on those weaknesses. I wouldn't call it lost by any stretch, but you've run yourself into significant difficulties by this approach.
It does look like Simon's a lot better against Gawain as well. He might be on track to pick up his first win.
Let me find that.
Although he has only lost 2 games and had 2 draws.
So. Yeah, Simon is a bunch of material up against Gawain, but he does need to solve some problems. I mean, obviously black is much, much better, but white still has some jumps, so you have to be careful. You have to make sure you don't blunder some kind of a sacrificial attack on the king side here. But you probably should be able to, because rook a7 followed by g6 if you play queen h5 seems to be adequate, but it looks a little bit scary, so you still have to pay attention. Meanwhile here, yeah, it's just unpleasant. With a pawn on h2 you'd be happy, but happy for, maybe not very happy, but would have been playable. Just castle. Rook a2 is also fine, but yeah, it's just a very, very good Sveshnikov. Just kind of browsing through the other games. Nothing really demands our attention, so we shouldn't be.
No, we've had a draw between Jordan and Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, everything else is still going.
Yeah. And Sasha isn't even below lower on time than Magnus, so everything is pretty much under control. Nothing to be too worried about here with black. Yeah, rook c4 is a kind of a natural looking move, but it doesn't really do very much. Knight on d4 is very, very difficult to challenge. Both rook a2 and rook a3 are very strong. Rook a2 kind of amusingly creating basically a threat of mate in the view with knight a2 and queen h4, which is once again something that is directly, trackable back to. I understand this is not English. To our early decision to play h4 and move 2. I should probably stop mentioning it.
But now the pawn's on h5. It's much better.
It is, yeah. It's a very threatening piece, obviously. And since it might not be obvious, I'm being heavily sarcastic here. The pawn does nothing. h6 is not really a threat. hg6 is also not really a threat. Rook a1. That's an interesting tactic, but I think it actually gives Magnus a way to maybe bail out a little bit, because this queen sacrifice does provide. Yeah, exactly. We just go for this. And I think what he may have missed is the move d4. Yeah, exactly. Magnus probably gets away with it now. Without d4, I think white is maybe just lost, but because d4 exists and now rook d2 and such, I think we'll just snap take on e3, take on c5, and it will be a draw. Which is a bit regrettable from his viewpoint, I'm guessing, because he must have known that he was much better. But it's still an okay result. I mean, the draw against Magnus is obviously not a bad result in most cases. But
yeah, it continues with his professional tournament.
Yeah. Okay. So f takes g5 seems to indicate he wants to try this for a bit, because he left himself with an outside passer to go with the B passer, but it shouldn't be enough. But you can definitely continue asking questions here with no risk whatsoever, as long as you keep the clock in check. No, this is Magnus's first MDI, Mamlu. Very momentous.
First time he's been invited, though.
Yeah, very momentous occasion. Yeah, and now, yeah, he could have played h5, which I think maybe would have given white a bit of an issue. But now there is not very much to discuss. I'm assuming this ends up. Yeah, I don't really envisage Magnus trying to flag here.
Nah.
Yeah, I think they're just going to find a threefold somewhere. Yeah, and Simon is maybe losing to Gawain. Yeah, I had a feeling this could go a bit wrong. And Gawain found a very, very nice tactic. And in the position we were looking at after rook a7, he played queen e3. And here, rook d8 apparently wins on the spot using the back rank, but rook d7 ran into this, which is still a very good position for black. But Simon somehow managed to play himself into difficulties. But this is now going to become a click fest, because it's objectively a draw. But, and honestly, on 20 seconds, you probably just take some kind of a draw here, right? You don't even go after the a4 pawn. No. And the reason it's a draw is if you run with the king all the way to the a4 pawn, the black king gets to a8. So, yeah, with no increment. Yeah, I think he actually is trying to. Okay, I mean, as long as he takes on a4, he can't lose, right? So that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you should at some point actually do that, I think. Like on 8 seconds, you probably should just speed up that process. You don't really need to.
Yeah, at a certain point, I think you definitely just have to go for the pawn.
Yeah. He's doing the right thing by also asking a bit of a question. But honestly, on 5 seconds, even if you misplay it, I don't think white will be able to give mate with the time allotted. So so whoa. Come on, Sai. Let's not be stupid about it. Yeah, I'm not trusting myself to be able to come back in time. Like once again, like you will not watch any of this tomorrow. It's just not happening.
So that was a draw. Supi beat Ten Hertog. Adaban against Mamedov was a draw.
Salgado Jabava draw. Ralph actually held this position, which apparently there was a threefold of some sort. Because, yeah, I guess, this is already a draw. So basically white was obviously completely winning. And then this is completely winning. And then he played queen d3. And then he left the queen on d3. And now there is always a check. Which is quite funny. And you can't cross the d file because of rook d2. So the game ended in a draw. So that's a bit of a miss by Atiban. Alain Pichot beat Kamil, and Vincent Keimer beat Eric Rosen. So that's the round done. We are 5 rounds in. And Dubov, despite not winning his game, is still in sole lead on 4 out of 5. Magnus, Rauf, and Keimer, and Salgado, and Van Forest are on 3.5. And Grishuk, with his 4 draws and 1 victory against Eric Rosen, is the only person on +1, which is quite funny. And that basically ends the cut. Everybody else is on 50% or below. And that's tying for the last qualifying place. But with 10 rounds to go, obviously this is completely irrelevant.
Lots of chess to go.
Absolutely.
Still, we're flying today. We're 3
Yeah,
minutes until the next round.
Yeah, it's going very, very quickly. What's your opinion on increment versus no increment? It's more fun to watch, but for me, it's much less fun to play because I have become very, very mechanically poor at this game. I used to be much better. So I get very nervy and I start doing extremely stupid things when I get down to like 20 seconds no increment. So for me personally, it's horrible, but I understand the attraction.
I don't know. I've seen you play bullet over the board. I thought you were very smooth and graceful.
Okay. Okay, dude. What are we watching? Keimer, Van Forest, or Dubov? Yeah, Dubov Carlsen seems like a game.
Yeah.
Dubov Carlsen
Can't skip Dubov.
Seems like a game, yeah. The spilled drink incident. Is China world champion? Let me take a look. They clutched it out because Yakuboyev did not win that position, and Grandmaster D. Lee, rated 2441, has beaten Nigmatov. So China won both legs 2.5, 1.5, and have won the world teams. And India, Spain drew 2-2 both legs, so there will be a tie break for third. And in the meantime, there's going to be a decisive game 5 in a very important match between Requam and Gerstadt, which I'm sure very, very many people in this chat care about.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes, I'm just stating the most obvious things.
Who do you think is going to win this game? Dubov's got white. Doesn't really make any difference, but
I'm taking Magnus, maybe.
controversial. I'll take Dubov.
Touch. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Had to be done at some point today.
I think you're slightly cropped out, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Like he likes the screen time. He might come back again.
How is the doggo?
Doggo's very good. He's very unconcerned. He's being fed and walked. Whoa. So Magnus is, full on. I like this. Yeah. Dubov just says, okay, you're going to do some absolutely bullshit things. Yeah, let me show you. Because this actually is now white is failing to equalize against knight c3 h5, which I think is very good banter. Not anymore. I mean, they are enjoying this, which I think is the sort of the proper spirit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Although I don't know if Magnus can out bullshit Dubov. I feel like Dubov has a wider repertoire of bullshit.
It's possible, yeah, but I mean, knight c3, h5 is hard to beat. And I mean, knight h3 was, I think, establishing kind of the ground rules as early as possible, because it was very much kind of a statement of intent saying, I am not going to let you be the person who makes the worst moves in the position for very long. Like, I'm just going to make a significantly worse move than yours immediately after yours, so that you know that you can't assert dominance in that particular respect. Knight b5, it feels like it's a bit of a try-hardy move, and yeah, e5 is also, yeah. We are actually going to get an interesting game of chess here, which feels like a bit of a letdown. But yeah, the structure is going to be like, this is, Magnus got kind of a dream position here, because he's playing a kind of a knight c3, e5 anti-Sveshnikov, right? But he gets so much time on the king side here, due to the fact that there is this idiot on h3, that it's obviously a very good version. The big question here is what happens if you play h6, because if you play knight c3, this is a full piece. So I assume you actually have to put it on a3. Oh, no, this is, he's intending to take on g5. This is very cute. Whoa. Okay, a6 played, so we will see. I'm assuming knight a3 doesn't even kind of enter into the equation here for Daniel. I'll feel very let down if knight g5 doesn't happen. Just kind of throw it in and go from there. And honestly, short castles very much, I think, indicates that this is where his head is at.
Yeah, he's not going to retreat here.
Yeah, like knight a3 is just, I think it's against the rules pretty much.
It's an un-Dubovian move.
Yeah, I'll be shocked, but we'll see. Whoa, knight c3. Okay, now he is kind of lost. Yeah, he'll go knight f4 and knight d5, but whoa, f4. Yeah, but that doesn't. The issue is like this structure is a little bit too solid. Well, okay, so like a proper Muzio gambit here by Dubov, unfortunately. Like, yeah, this is. I mean, you're 2 pieces down. You're also the one getting mated, because the pawn on h3 connected with queen g5 coming in at some point is going to be very annoying. Yeah, I mean, as a statement of intent, it's fine, but yeah, not great from a boring, purely chessical sense. Let's put it like this. Why is Magnus laughing? Because why wouldn't you laugh? I mean, I'm very sure they like each other and they understand the kind of the interplay here. They both know that the game has gone off the rails very early on by sort of mutual agreement, and then it's kind of, we used to play that kind of really stupid game when we were kids, which I think once again will demonstrate just sort of just how screwed up of a childhood I had, and maybe it explains very many things about me. But we used to play this game called Nimzovich chess, where basically you couldn't make a move on the board unless you could explain it using sort of vaguely Nimzovichian sounding mambo jumbo.
Okay, let's go. Queen g3.
Well, I mean, you know, when you have initiative, you must develop your initiative further, or you lose. You know, you will. That actually is, I think, Steinitz or Lasker, not Nimzovich. But yeah, I can do approximations.
Knight c7, forky.
Forky, yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is a game now. White is only a full piece down. He probably should have been more material down, but. The Russian school of chess revealed, says Laws. Yeah, very much so. Like, you have to understand, you know, just how warped like 12-year-old kids have to be for this to be your sort of, you know, parlor game of choice. to be quoting Nimzovich to each other. But yeah, those were absolutely the days. We also had the early precursor for the duck chess. It was called coin chess. And the coin started the game on e3, and it would repeat the path of your piece. So if you played one knight f3, the coin would go to g5. And your opponent cannot make a move that either ends on the square, I think, where the coin is, or any move is illegal if the coin cannot repeat it. The coin obviously cannot land on an occupied square.
Okay, this does sound more complicated than duck chess.
It's very boring, honestly, because like games are completely interminable, because even if you get very far ahead, at some point you can't really press your advantage very much, because you run out of board. The coin at some point like lands on the last rank, and you can't make any forward moves from that moment onwards. Like you have to push something back to continue pushing forward. So yeah, that was not the favorite wild variant of my childhood, but it definitely did exist, and it kind of, I mean, duck chess is more.
Have you played duck chess?
I've watched some duck chess. I haven't played any. I probably should play some.
Don't worry, you'll be playing some in seat chess.
Okay.
I bought some ducks to bring to seat chess.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna have some over the board duck chess.
Yeah, okay. This is still Magnus having an extra piece. So let's see if Sasha can find mate here, which I assume he can. This is a game between Alexander Grishuk and Alain Pichot. The 5 is strictly the only move, and now we just collect everything with checks. I guess we repeat a couple of times and then take on e6. And weirdly, like Queen d7, knight e7 collects a lot of material, but even a quiet move like bishop before d5 apparently is absolutely winning right now, which is a bit surprising, but I guess White's dominance is such that nothing should surprise us very much. In the meantime, we have some results. Eric lost to Badur. Ralph won another game against Ivan Salgado Lopez. Ten Hertog is in trouble against Tadiban. CP is seemingly much better against Simon. Kamil is okay-ish, but I think a pawn down against Gwaine. Keimer is better against Jordan, I think. And yeah, and Sasha is just winning here. So what are we watching? Maybe back to, because I mean, Dubov has got about the best position he could have gotten out of that Mutsu gambit. It's still completely lost, though, unfortunately. I think if you could give White another tempo here, so like if I could play b3, b2, and then king e2 in this position. Question 4, Paul Border, what does he think of mankading? Mankading is fine. It's in the rules, so the brouhaha, which happens every single time somebody does that, is just completely unseemly. If you don't want it to happen to you, just don't leave your crease. Like, no problem. It's in the rules for a reason. So yeah, no problem. I think in particular for me as an England supporter, this kind of fake moral outrage you hear every time it happens to English players in particular, it just annoys me a great deal, because I think they're absolutely wrong, and they should stop being wrong on this topic.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This is all foreign language stuff to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a kind of a slightly quirky way of dismissal in cricket, which for some reason over the years...
I'm really sorry. I wasn't asking to explain it. Like I was trying to change the subject. Like,
okay, yeah. You would be somewhat interested in the description, actually, because it's like this weird case where, you know, it's a technical rule of a game which for some reason people have attached moral importance to. For absolutely no real reason whatsoever, people have attached like moral attributes to whether this happens or not.
Is it so? It's like flagging,
sort of, but even more legal. Like, yeah, in a way,
more legal than flagging, which is perfectly legal.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think flagging is actually a pretty decent analog. Yeah.
Damn. I didn't want to understand things. Life Rage Quitter says we should force Dodgy to learn cricket. I will never learn the rules of cricket.
So round 6 is done. Let's take a brief look at the standings here. We have Magnus on 4.5, Ralph on 4.5. Dubov is now tied for third with Grishuk, Jordan Van Forest, and Vincent Keimer, and Salgado Lopez, Adipan, and Supi are tied for 7th through 9th. So currently this is sort of the cut, but once again, a very, very long tournament, plenty of things to watch.
It does kind of look like the ELO system works.
A little bit, yeah. You can say that, yeah. Badur is not having a great time so far, and Gwaine, I guess, is perhaps a slightly surprising omission from the cut. But yeah, it does look like.
No, Badur lost the first 3, but then he's on 2.5 out of 3.
Yeah, you could very easily imagine him bouncing back and qualifying. Yeah. If he gets his feet in good dancing order, he could dance all the way to plus however many.
I haven't seen Badur yet. Do we know if he's dancing his way?
We can actually maybe do that. Yeah, let's see who he's playing. He's playing against Rao, so that's not a bad game. There is a Carlsen Keimer game, which would be the game to watch if we were just going by standings. But just to check whether Badur is dancing, I think we'll start with this one.
I could just open Badur's stream and then see. Well, he's not playing, so will he dance in between games? I don't remember.
He is streaming this. Yeah, if Badur is streaming this, then maybe I should be streaming tomorrow. Provided I can remember how.
He can dance if he wants to. That is correct. He's dancing a little bit. By the way, Badur's username on Chess24 is Grumpy Toddler. Which I knew from last year, but I completely somehow forgot about it and relearned it again today. And it made me happy.
Yeah. Fair.
I think this is the game. How long do we have? 1 minute ago.
Is this the final round, chat? No, this is a proper round robin, David. So there is what, 8 rounds? No, 9 rounds to go.
We're almost halfway through.
Yeah.
Still a lot of chess to go today and tomorrow.
Yeah, you as
5 more days.
The very prestigious tournament dictator. Is there a break at some point or?
No breaks, non-stop chess. We didn't plan this out very well, to be honest.
I actually sort of endorse that. When I'm playing, I mean, 15 rounds is a lot, but generally when I'm playing Blitz, I don't really like a sudden half-an-hour break in the middle of.
Yeah, we probably should have had 10 minutes or something in the middle.
Yeah, something like 10 minutes is not horrible, but yeah, whenever they introduce a longish break in the middle of a Blitz tournament over the board, it kind of breaks your stride.
Yeah, I think Blitz should be kind of not just a fast game, but a fast schedule as well.
Yeah, I'm absolutely on board with that. Does the winner get a picture of a man on a horse? Absolutely does, Pixie. That's the whole point of this tournament.
Also, is the Berlin banned? The Berlin is still banned, but I haven't been checking the games to enforce that. Yeah,
we haven't seen any yet, but
I would be surprised to see a Berlin.
Yeah, Jordan continues going knight a3 on move 1. We're not watching that. So Badur has gone for the Alapin, which is a huge turnoff. I'm very much looking forward to watching something else. I'm just trying to figure out what. Gwaine Jones against Grishuk is going to be a theoretical endgame by move 7. Like I'm being led down on every board in this round so far. Come on, Magnus, h4. Go h4 somewhere. Magnus goes 1, e4, c5, please. Come on, c5, c6, h4. Are we playing h4 here? Are we playing b3? Okay, that's probably
close
enough. Where close enough. Close. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. I assume the pawn on e4 cannot really be kept. Whoa. Okay. Okay, dude. Yeah, this is Magnus is definitely in a kind of a weird mood with regards to playing online Blitz these days. Like, I don't know if I'm entirely on board. I mean, nobody asks me, and it's also fair that nobody asks me, but it feels like there are better ways for him to prove that he is very good at the game.
You don't think this is just trying to get a messy position where like the better practical player will win? Just his general strategy, not this particular game necessarily.
I mean, yes, but like there is still a line between a messy position and a position where, like, you know, and your opponent knows that you have just made a completely playable position bad. And like, I assume the point you're trying to make is, okay, not anymore. I mean, he's just better now for some reason. But
see, there we go. The system works.
Yeah, the system. No, but that's the point. The system does work, but yeah, I feel like maybe you don't actually have to, go this hard into proving that you can play absolutely anything against anyone. But I mean, he clearly disagrees, and I will never tire of saying my opinion is completely irrelevant.
Fair.
But yeah, he has a very, very good position now. Like, you can take on e4 and you're okay, but the problem for black is, which computer continues pointing out, is that you can actually play f3, and black finds himself in a kind of weird spot, because if you allow f takes e4, it takes away the very, very important f5 square from this knight, which is something this position doesn't. Like queen d5, knight f5, this is completely fine for black, I assume. And if you take on f3, knight f3, you just give white kind of a very, very free attack in the center. So f3 is a very promising option in many of these positions. Interestingly, even the position which I thought must be completely fine for black, the ancient steel suggests that white is a bit better after d3 here. But yeah, Magnus goes f3, not unexpectedly. The test here would be the move knight f5, of course, creating this threat of a fork, and also developing a piece to the best square on the board. But both rook h3 and apparently even the move queen e2 e1 are very playable. Vincent goes with ef, and now he's just in trouble, because he is going to struggle to finish development while also making sure that the pawn f7 isn't lost. Very, very simple plans here of rook hf1 and knight e5 are going to be very difficult to meet. White is much better developed, has plenty of activity, and black only has one pawn to show for it, so it's never going to be too much.
Yeah, it looks like a good opening.
Excellent opening, yeah. And just for kind of clarity's sake, if you start with knight f6 here, and then play h5, your knight will not be stuck on g8 for the rest of the game, because you can put it on d5. Yeah, this is not great for white. You should not be doing this.
No. I know it's not great, but also, like, we had kind of similar stuff in the Fischer Random, where people just got into strange positions quite early and really didn't understand what to do. So maybe he's going for the similar kind of principle. Yeah, maybe he's just having fun as well. Like,
yeah. I mean, he clearly is. Yeah, and once again, I find myself in a kind of a strange spot where it was a very, very, very strange experience for me. People were kind of actively defending my honor when he played bishop b5 h5 in the Rosalimo against me in 20 in one of the very, very early online tournaments, which when people were just getting the hang of organizing these online tournaments. I think it was a Stein's Memorial or whatever it was. And I thought that was completely fine. And I really couldn't understand why people were getting their panties in a twist about him playing something which obviously isn't the best move in the position, but has some strategical ideas behind it. And I mean, I was lost by move 15. So like, if you needed any proof that this was not an absolutely ridiculous idea in that particular position in the Sicilian. The game would have shown you that. And I just felt like all the outrage and like the Twitter and the Facebook posts saying like, why is he disrespecting Svidler, were completely like missing the point. And here I am sitting here, and saying, G4 in this position is absolutely crossing that line. Do not do that. So I feel a bit ridiculous myself. But
no, but from a commentary point of view, I think you have to point out that it is ridiculous because, people watch for some educational value, and we should, be very clear that you shouldn't do this in your own games. It's terrible.
I think pointing it out and maybe explaining in like a couple of sentences exactly why it's not great is, there is some value in it. But also, mainly I'm not really very concerned with the evaluation because I think the evaluation is pretty clear. I am kind of asking myself, why was I not even remotely pissed off at bishop b5, h5 when it was played against me? But I am sort of pissed off at bishop b2, d4, g4 against Vincent. And I don't really have a good answer. But there is, for some reason, some kind of a difference in my mind.
Yeah, I think, but h5 is kind of playable as well.
Yeah, I think. But once again,
do a whole course on this as well. Christoph Selecki did like the Dirty Harry Sicilian, so like it does seem to hold up a lot more than like I don't think anyone's going to be recommending G4 or whatever he played in this.
That's not happening yet for sure. But once you start actually, assigning numerical values to these things, because obviously, both of these things are done for shock value, and one is less losing than the other. But once you start basing this on like Stockfish evaluations, it becomes a very kind of weird spot where you should maybe just assume that, he does it because he likes fun and this is what he currently finds fun and whatever. Yeah.
Also, he is kind of worse again.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he shuffled.
He probably is just having fun.
Yeah, he shuffled a little bit too much. Like somewhere around here, the engine was really liking his position, and then he made, in particular, the engine really hated the move King B2 because it really sort of stepped all the way into this by taking away the opportunity to retreat all the way back to B2. So now this bishop is gone, and it was a kind of an important bishop because it was exerting a lot of pressure on the G7 pawn. The queen is not doing as good a job of it here.
Yeah, so it's not. Can still be all to play for at the top.
Mm-hmm.
We're not 100% sure if Magnus will actually play the next match in the knockout, so he might not be too upset if he doesn't qualify. But we have a couple of results. Supi managed to beat Plichter, and Adiban beat Simon.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and Vincent is. I'm pretty sure he is planning to meet Queen G3 with something like F6 or F5, which leads to this really weird position where Magnus will be obliged to accept this exchange sacrifice, but he's not actually losing material, and it's a kind of a weird sharp position. He has done something else interesting. How did that go? He didn't even play Queen G3. He played Rook F7 here, and he is now trying to defend this exchange down ending, which he's not doing very well in, if we're honest with ourselves. This rook goes here, stopping any kind of a potential incursion along the F file. It's going to take a while to, generate any threats because the white knights are kind of solid, and they take away a lot of the squares for black to make progress on. But it is, two rooks again against one rook and knight, so. We know who is better here.
The knights.
Absolutely. The knights are a very tricky piece. Jordan has beaten Eric. Dubov probably holds this against Alain Pichot.
I wonder what the stats are for a knight on less than 20 seconds.
And Magnus is back to being completely winning. Yeah.
Knights are better.
Yeah, safe. Whoa, knight G6 instead of knight takes H5. Yeah, they both are playing on very, very low times. So rook D8 check is completely winning now. Yeah, you can take on H4. But it doesn't really matter because it's about who will be faster. And So far, Vincent is being very fast, but yeah, Magnus will obviously not hesitate to flag here. Oh,
Yep.
okay, not needed because Vincent somehow pre-moved all of his rooks away. and
That
lost,
was a nice dirty
and
flag.
lost on time, yeah. So yeah, Vincent managed to actually lose this position on the board somehow because rook g6. He could have, if he saw that rook g6 was played, he could have taken on g6 and taken on a5 and at least guarantee a draw. But instead, he pre-moved all of these moves, and yeah, not great. Not great. Dubov actually won that game against Alan Pichot. Grishuk, Gwen Jones was a draw. Adiban beat Simon. Ivan Salgado Lopez, I assume, flagged Hugot and Hertog. And Rauf is continuing to cruise by beating, actually mating on the board, our good friend Bador Jobava. So the standings are Magnus and Rauf are in the lead. Dubov and Jordan half a point behind. And then there's a tie for 5th through to the 8th place for Salgado, Adiban, Supi, and Grishuk. Keimer, having lost that game to Magnus, falls out of contention for now.
Do you think Grishuk is going to go through the whole tournament
Undefeated?
Undefeated? That would be not easy in a 15-round blitz.
No, not very easy. Yeah. And the next round will actually be the official, like midway through the round, we'll pass the equator.
But Jordan's actually unbeaten as well.
Yeah. Are we actually calling him Jordan now?
Jordan, I don't know. I'm bad at names.
So in the next round, we have Eric Rosen playing against Rauf, Hugot and Hertog against Badur, William Salgado, Plichta Adiban, Grishuk Supi, Dubov Gwen Jones, Keimer Pichot, and Jordan plays against Magnus, which seems like a... Let's see if he goes knight a3 here. He's been playing knight a3, I think, without fail in every single game so far with white.
Okay, let's see if he does it against Magnus. He might. I think he's obliged to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it in every game, like suddenly saying, I don't respect the rest of the field, but I do respect you, feels like doubling down on the previous disrespect. Doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no, I think he's got to play it. Unless he has some other ideas for different kinds of nonsense.
I wonder if knight a3 is just going to be met by h5. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. David Wisgan there in chat saying knight a3, knight a6, but I think knight a6 is a kind of a boring way to try to fight for moral superiority. Knight a3, h5 is where it's at.
Yeah, I agree. I think h5 is the correct response in this tournament. We'll see. We have only 30 seconds.
And Spain appears to have won the match, was third in the world teams.
Yeah. Spain have a very good team, but I was surprised at the top 4, to be honest. Like, I think if the top 4 at the world teams was completely different, I wouldn't have been very surprised.
What's your take on the all-important upset controversy?
The upset controversy?
Knight c3 against Magnus, still h5, I guess. No. What do we know?
Which upset?
The official Chess24 Twitter account called India's victory over France an upset, which
that is controversial. I didn't see.
Yeah,
that.
Which obviously upset some Indian fans.
I guess technically it is, though.
I mean, very much like simply on rating points alone, it was very much an upset. Yeah.
And also, it's not the India team with, all of the top players as well. Some offense.
Yeah.
They're like if it was India with, you know, all the kids, basically.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to see. I want to see an India team of only teenagers.
For as long as it's possible. Yeah, just like every team
No. It's going to be possible for like quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
so for the next Olympiad, no Gukesh will still get in, but no Aragaisi, no Prague, no Nihal. We want the next generation.
Yeah, that would be quite remarkable if they actually. I mean, they obviously won't do that because they care and they should care about the Olympiad, but it would be funny, and also I think they would do quite well.
Yeah,
I mean, would be a very good combination of it being, you know, very good bands, and also they will continue faring.
It would be an absolute power move just to see, like, no, these guys are over the hill. We're focused on the next one.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Washed.
Gukesh still makes the team. Gukesh still gets in, but the others,
yeah.
Sadwani gets in as well.
Yeah, and Jordan actually, somewhat surprisingly, he played a 5 more or less instantly here, and then he decided not to sacrifice this pawn. He could have just played Queen E2 here and continued kind of not caring, but he decided to care, and now he's just a bit worse in this endgame. Maybe not even a bit. I really, really like these types of endgames for black, these types of endgames that you get from Caro-Kanns or Frenches, where the light square bishop is gone, and you have this material balance where this bishop on c1 is just going to be a problem for the rest of the game. It just does nothing wherever you put it. Even if it's on d4, it doesn't really do very much. And the knight either on c6 or f5 is always going to be stronger than that bishop. I wouldn't even be shocked if Magnus just gave up the bishop on c5, but you don't have to. But yeah, you just kind of take, I think, the knights against the knight and bishop for black here in these types of structures.
Yeah, this is never fun for white.
No, it's never fun, and also this is obviously like a very enjoyable situation for Magnus because he gets a free roll. Whoa, 96 is kind of strong here though.
Oops.
That is a bit of an oopsie, yeah. And it only worked that one moment because the f8 rook was not protected by the other rook on a8. So yeah, Magnus clearly realized what he's done and is now correcting his early mistake. Yeah, white is not defenseless here at all, of course. Yeah, you get, it's very important that we got to play g2, g4, stopping the knight from coming to f5. So yeah, it's not as, you know, abysmal as I was maybe trying to paint, but I would still enjoy this more with black. Although I assume it's sort of holdable. In other developments, Grishuk got tired of playing correct openings and is doing something incredibly funky against Supi, but we'll stick with this for the time being. Knight takes a2 seems kind of strong actually here, because you can actually get out by the c3 square. So this is what he's trying to calculate, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, it grabs the pawn. Free stuff.
Yeah, it's just annoying because you suddenly have to calculate none of your obvious options work. Yeah, this is just not great after knight c3 check. Because if you play king d3, I mean, both knight e4 and knight b5 are pretty good, I'm pretty sure. But knight b5 just maintains the material advantage. And if you take on c3, which is what he's done, you're also not winning the pawn back because b3 is hanging. You can try playing for activity, like taking on a7 and then going for some kind of fishing expedition with rook a8, I don't know, rook f8, rook f7. It's actually maybe a bit annoying because black kind of lacks the pieces for dealing with this. You would like to start pushing your own passers, but then rook a7 check followed by knight g5 actually wins the pawn on a6 immediately. So maybe white isn't even doing all that poorly.
I don't know if you can see Magnus's camera, but he looks incredibly happy.
I can see, I mean, I can see it, but it's very, very small on my screen. So yeah, happiness is not something I can gauge from a picture of this size. I envy your eyesight.
No, I have the stream open on another.
I have the stream. Yeah, that maybe is a smarter way of doing things. Yeah, I don't know if that's happy. Hungry and sleepy.
He looks
is
less happy now, but
yeah, there's that green again. Is he listening to us?
maybe.
Because that seemed to coincide with me suggesting he's hungry and sleepy. And I wouldn't actually put it past him to know what that is. Like the absolute legendary post that gave birth to the expression. And he's back to being much better because he actually solved the problem of the rook landing on f7. White probably wasn't very precise somewhere along the way. So you can finally start pushing the b pawn. You will still have to deal with some counterplay, but at least you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, this doesn't look fun for Jordan.
Yeah, now he is just dead after knight c6. If knight c6 gets found, which, yeah, it obviously does. It's not a difficult move. Magnus is also 40 seconds ahead on the clock, so very much in control. Stupi is potentially giving some kind of a very beautiful mate to Grishuk, but maybe not. So it's kind of a very weird position. And
yeah, it does look like he's got it made, but I don't.
Yeah, the machine says 95 still holds, but it's the only move that holds. I don't know if that's an easy move to find. Like your rook is hanging, which is something I didn't even notice at first. And also very importantly, you have to stop rook h8, rook h4. And after knight takes e3, yeah, knight e3, you have actually gotten mated after rook h8. Knight d5 doesn't stop it. It's just mate in 3 or 2 or whatever. So yeah, Sasha does not go through the field undefeated after this game.
Okay, we jinxed him successfully.
Successfully jinxed Sasha for some reason, yeah. Adiban beat Plichter, Badur beat Ten Hertog. Mamedov is leading the tournament still after beating Eric Rosen. Yeah, we should probably still watch the conclusion of this, but Magnus is obviously very much in control. You can even do this if you wanted to.
Yeah, Dubov beat Gawain as well.
Yeah, Dubov beat Gawain from a position which I assume, hang on a second, he was just, hang on, he won this endgame. And I mean, he's not worse, but you should not be winning very many of these, I would assume, right? It's just not on. You're a pawn down in the opposite color bishop ending. Like,
yeah, and the time situation wasn't that bad.
But eventually, yeah, eventually things have gotten off the rails there. Magnus is a full rook up and also has 40 seconds against 3, so shouldn't really be very difficult. Yeah, just calmly collecting everything. Vincent is very much winning against Alain Pichot, Queen b2, and the game. 92 was actually mate in 1, but everybody plays Queen b2 there, I'm pretty sure. Like, there is no way you play 92 here because the move just doesn't occur to you, I'm pretty sure. You just play Queen b2. And yeah, there was a prediction running for the game between Jordan and Magnus. And I think we kind of had a boring prediction there. We were predicting the result of the game, which, I mean, who cares? What we should have been trying to predict is the first move. And we all failed utterly.
For which one?
For the game we just finished watching, the Jordan versus Magnus game.
Yeah.
So standings. Magnus and Rauf, half a point ahead of Dubov, a full point ahead of Salgado, Adiban, and Supi. And Sasha is now below the cut on 50%. No, that actually isn't 50%. We had 8 rounds, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sasha's on +1. and +1 is currently below the cut, which is interesting. Because that's not how, like, the only tournament I can compare this with is the old, I mean, they're not very old, but the Champions Chess Tour open events, like the Opens, not the Masters, right? Where you have a field of 16 and 8 qualify.
Yeah,
but
they're very old, very, very old.
Very old, but there you normally, like, if you scored sort of above the fold, right, you would be pretty much in. Because
usually 50% should be kind of more
50% was like tying you for the qualifying place normally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but that's because people started coasting, and generally, like, even if somebody won with a large score, in general, a lot of people very early on realized that they have enough to qualify, and they started making draws, and nobody really was running away with it. Whereas here, we have a pretty obvious split between the haves and the have-nots. Eric is not having a very nice time of it. Ten Hertog, after starting promisingly by beating Pichot, he has lost, I think, the next 7. Simon is on 1.5 out of 8, and with people not doing well, you get a lot of people in plus. So we get this situation where a perfectly respectable 4.5 out of 8 is currently the clean 9th place for Grishuk. So what are we watching in round 9? Magnus plays against Eric. Once again, it's kind of like I'm curious what he will play on move 1 and so on, but Eric is struggling, so
yeah, we should only switch to that one if starts to win, and then we'll cheer him on.
or the first 5 moves are just like absolutely outlandish. Yeah, nothing really jumps out at me.
Okay, I don't think we've watched Supi yet, so let's watch him against Dubov, because Supi is actually on 5.5. And he's won 4 games in a row as well.
Yeah, Supi's on fire. Yeah, he started kind of slowly, and then he won. That's 4 in a row on my screen. He beat Hertog, Simon, Kamil, and Sasha just now. Yeah. That really crazy game against Sasha, where after seemingly trying to conserve energy and not do very much, Sasha just played some really strange kind of a Reti/bird hybrid.
But I mean, I don't know Supi super well. No pun intended, but I do feel very strongly that like people like this should get chances against the top players. Like I guess he hasn't played a lot of games against Grishuk.
I think I played him.
I like these kind of mixed fields that put kind of lower rated players against the top guys. Obviously, the top guys win most of the games, but this is my favorite kind of chess, to be honest. Sorry, go on.
No, I think I played Supi in one of the streamer things, and it was a very, very tough match for me. I remember feeling like I was in a very proper fight. If I remember correctly. I think I got through it, but not before getting very scared.
So that was also on 5.5.
Yeah, but without such a streak. Yeah, he only lost 1 game to Ralph. He won 2 at first, and then he won 2 just now against Ten Hertog and Ginger. These types of tournaments are so great, so up-and-comers like Svidler can play super GMs.
Yep.
Fair point, well made. Yeah, Dubov goes e4, knight c6 against Supi, but yeah, this is the way to kind of follow it up. This is what I call, queen h5. Yeah, that's very hardcore. Because like knight b5, are you actually playing king d8 here? I think you're supposed to, but like how fun is that? Why is that supposed to be fun? And this is now a kind of a classical, what I call the Vlasov Scandinavian. There is a Russian international master, Nikolai Vlasov, who's been playing pretty much this for his entire life. And has a pretty well worked out theory for all of these positions. But once again, disclaimer, if disclaimer is needed here, do not do this. It's not great. If you meet somebody who is reasonably well prepared, you will not enjoy the resulting positions. But you do kind of have to know. And knight b5, even though it's a pretty normal looking move, apparently throws away much of the advantage, which was achievable by the move bishop h5, because shockingly the pawn on f7 is quite vulnerable, and the engine was suggesting something like this is quite painful for black, because you are scrambling to just not lose the f7 pawn while also meeting the threat of bishop g5. Knight b5, and yeah, Dodgy just goes e5, says if you want to take on c6, be my guest. I will have to spoil my structure, but you will have wasted a bunch of tempi. You obviously cannot take on a7 because it gets picked up, and now yeah, you've wasted basically 2 tempi to make me ruin my queenside structure. But the king will be pretty much always parked on d7. We don't really care. The a7 pawn is entirely irrelevant. We're trying to do something on the king side here. 97, 95 is a kind of a normal follow-up. The problem is it's not obvious exactly how you create anything at all, but an attempt will be made. And I like this by Supi, yeah, just kind of meeting it head on. Just going g4 and going for it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's such a great move, but it shows the kind of the proper spirit. We're not going to be outdone in the kind of the outlandishness department. King d7, 92 apparently is now really bad for black, so you actually are supposed to play king b8. And this already, I think, will be a bit of a challenge for Daniel, because I think he will have told himself, my king is always going to d7. And just switching back and, going back into the, no, I must make the quote-unquote sane move here because king d7 might get me mated, might just present psychological challenges, because you, in particular in a blitz game, like if you have a pretty clear picture in mind of what you're trying to achieve, yeah, exactly. Just play king d7 because you in your head you were playing king d7 always. But now white can pretty much you give any check here. The engine suggests queen a4, queen b5 are very similar in strength. And then you start blowing up the center with b4. And the king really cannot run in that direction because you will get chased down.
Yeah, so the king has to go back to c8.
And then we go b4 and we start blowing stuff up. And it's just not going to be fun at all for black. Yeah, I wonder if he's just, like, that was a bit of a weird repetition. I mean, it makes sense from a tournament viewpoint, but yeah, like, I don't think he is that kind of a player. I would have been really, really shocked if he just chose to take that repetition there. Would have really messed with the picture in my head of what kind of a player he is.
Yeah, I think you have to play on here.
It's also just very good. Like, I think instinctively you feel that you're doing really well here, because we're only 1 pawn down here with white. So we haven't really given up too much equity, and the king on c8 is very, very unsafe. And yeah, I don't think we should be concerned. The engine just goes queen takes a7 here. I guess he just wants to repeat a couple of times and then go, or maybe queen b5 check and take on c5 that way. Important thing is not to blunder this. That would be a mistake. But I'm pretty sure he sees that. Yeah, queen b5 check played. 96, and now we just take on c5. We play, bishop b5 obviously, and we play something like bishop f4, because that is a very important defensive piece. So trading it away is very, very useful.
Yeah, this looks very tough.
Magnus has gone e3, d5, c4 against Eric, and then once again played g4, move 5. So, but this really is not nearly as crazy as some of the earlier stuff he's done in this tournament, so it's not very newsworthy.
Yeah, that's a normal g4.
Yeah, that's like a kind of a, Latvian gambit. Just 2 moves too early. Still not great, but extremely playable. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually playable for like 1 classical game. Probably not 2, but 1 classical game for sure. And the problem for black here is now, with the inclusion of rook b8 and bishop c4, queen c4, if you play bishop b5, you just straight up lose a piece to f4 and queen b5 check. He's gone rook b4, but now after queen d5, yeah, you have knight e7 in order not to lose the piece immediately. But then, let's say queen f3, bishop takes c5 and bishop a3, and the opposition starts collapsing. He's gone rook b5. And yeah, this is going really, really poorly because the queen is hanging, and allowing knight d3 is also not great. And the problem is, yeah, now after knight d3, everything is hanging. You're just going to have to lose a lot of material. So yeah, you were absolutely right about 5 in a row. You were just, for some reason, you chose to kind of show the world you're a precog on this seemingly unimportant little detail.
Yeah, I decided to jinx Dubov because I'd jinxed Grishchuk already, so I thought I'd go for Dubov as well. Rav's won again.
Yeah.
And quite a fast game. A very early checkmate.
Oh yeah, that has gone poorly for it's some kind of a caro gone very, very bad. Magnus's position kind of sharpened up, and I mean Supi is just completely winning, so we should probably switch. Yeah, Magnus's position is, I mean, he is winning, but he had to show some tactical awareness there, which we kind of know he possesses. But if the bishop wasn't on a7 and black could actually play h takes g5 without rook h8 being made, maybe this would have been playable for black, but unfortunately you have to throw in the full bishop to be able to just recapture on g5. So yeah, Magnus is doing really, really well. Yeah, not a very exciting position. I have a feeling I know where this came from. Oh no, it's actually a different opening. I thought it was a trompe, but it was a caro, which ended up looking like a trompe I was giving in one of the lines in the chorus, which is why I thought there would be a kind of a seamless and natural opportunity for me to do a bit of sellouting, but no.
But you managed anyway, and it's not even the same opening. Well done. That's professional sellouting.
That is very, very nice sellouting by me for sure.
This reminds me of my opening chorus.
Yeah, even though it's not even the same first move.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yep.
Although, given this for black, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, even
a great recommendation.
Yeah, even this is not as bad as all that, but yeah, the a pawn might decide the game when all is said and done. But we'll see. I mean, it's still, in particular in a blitz game, like you're not guaranteed anything here because black has his own runners. Yeah, unfortunately for Jordan here, yeah, you can just give up on c1. Whoa, very beautiful. But Machine was actually disagreeing with this quite severely because there are better ways of queening the a pawn. And now, if black doesn't lose his head, yeah, that's a very nice conclusion. Now you just take on c3 and put the bishop on b5, and black is fine. Grishuk, in the meantime, drew, continuing his very, very solid tournament. Salgado and Plichter drew in about 5 seconds flat. Rook takes a3. What is rook a3? That's a very, very strange choice there by Alan. Yeah, this is a sharp game, and 25 seconds against 30. Like, you can imagine, like, normally they should probably find a perpetual somewhere, but I think in practical terms, black is maybe favored because if you imagine this king reaching the c4 square, I think black wins every single time because it's just easier to play with more. Yeah, the queen is a strong piece, though. I don't know. I wonder what the numbers say about these types of positions. Who, you know, finds it easier to flag in spots like this?
Yeah, I think the queen's probably easier in blitz.
Yeah. White is actually winning again, but I don't know if it matters.
You only have one piece that you can blunder, so
yeah, that as well. Yeah. Rook c2. Yeah. Yeah, black is kind of getting stuff all tangled up, but now it's untangled again. Whoa. Very nicely done by Alan, just setting this up by playing queen g5 here. very nice kind of a fight against the pre-move. And yeah, we should just show the final position of that Caro, because yeah, that's a bit of an opening disaster here. So this is was a kind of a weird Caro as well, because Ralph played knight f3 and then e5, and this has to be very good for black, but somehow, yeah, somewhere around here things have gone not exactly according to plan. And yeah, once you start giving up tempi like this, you probably not going to like your position very much, and yeah, you just got mated.
Oof.
Yeah, in the meantime, Magnus did win his game against Eric. We saw Pichot beat Jordan, Supi beat Dubov, Gwaine beat Keimer, importantly. So after 9 rounds, we have the following situation. Magnus Ralph on first and second on 7.5 out of 9. Supi in clear third. Salgado, Adiban, and Dubov on 6 out of 9. And then there is a tie between Keimer, Jordan, and Grishuk on 5 out of 9. That's a tie for 7th through 9th. So not guaranteed.
Yep. And Badr is back to 50%, and he's half point behind the qualifying spots.
Yeah. We know that Badr is very much in the mix once he starts playing somewhat well, because he starts gaining confidence, and Badr playing confidently is a very dangerous player in every single lineup. In this round, we have Simon White against Ralph. Magnus will be black against... No, Magnus is white against Pichot, so he has the second white in a row. Jordan against Gwaine, Dubov Adiban, Keimer Supi. Keimer Supi is, I guess, an interesting game. Or we could watch... People are asking for Ginger's games, and we haven't actually watched Ralph very much, so we could actually watch...
Let's watch Simon against Ralph.
Yeah.
That seems like a...
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
I would predict some amount of chaos here.
Yeah, I never know what Simon will choose to do in the opening.
I think he'll play some kind of d4.
Yeah, it's interesting that for somebody who is well known for absolute craziness in as early as possible, he is still kind of a solid 1d4 player, and then it starts, regardless of what black does in response.
Yeah, pretty much. I think a lot of these guys lean more like the kind of more aggressive players. I think they lean a bit more towards d4 than e4. Yeah, it would be interesting to, but once again, it very much invites you to make sort of qualitative judgments as to who you assign assign the moniker of the hyper aggressive player. I mean, Simon definitely belongs, but like how do you separate wheat from chaff in that respect? Yeah, it's not that simple, because like someone like, I don't know, MVL should definitely fit in that category, but he's also 2750, so yeah. He doesn't know that you can move the d pawn on the first move. So
he does now.
Nah, he doesn't really know.
He suspects.
He's seen it done elsewhere.
Yeah.
So we have
6 more rounds to go, so we are sort of on pace to be only a little bit late, right? Yeah, and d4 c5. Ralph playing the kind of the old Indian, or whatever it will be in the end, some kind of a Peerts. Weird-ish Peerts. And yeah, there we have it. h4 instantly replied to with h5, which is a bit surprising to me, because yeah, like why are we allowing this knight to land on g5? I would be quite unhappy about that as a Peerts player myself. But I mean, conversely, of course, the g4 square is also very much available, meaning that, yeah, I was about to say f4 is very difficult to justify, but Simon doesn't really need any particular invitation to go for, Grand Prix type stuff. You still have to find a way to somehow deal with this knight pair, which provides pretty decent cover against all of your potential kingside attacks. But yeah, the speed with which Simon did this is quite remarkable, because it's not obvious at all to me that this is good.
I'm reasonably sure this is in Simon's Harry Attack Chessable course.
Really?
So he probably has looked at this in depth. I think, if I remember correctly, it's mostly against the King's Indian and the Grunfeld. But I think he has a chapter where he kind of talks a little bit about against these other lines. But I can't remember 100%, to be honest.
Can anyone in chat confirm whether Mr. hold any title like FM, NM, or CM? Mr. definitely.
That is my title. Yeah, just
yeah.
Mr.
Yeah, not doctor, just Mr.
Maybe I should become a doctor. I think it'd be easier than becoming a grandmaster. So,
really,
at this stage of my life,
okay.
I feel like I could get an honorary doctorate easier than I could get an honorary GM title. Dr. MrDodgy would
Dr. MrDodgy
cause problems.
Yeah. At some point I discovered this Twitter account called Tim Gill, which I have tried sharing with my little band of friends, and his recent kind of spree of activity was trying to convince everyone that you should if you get a Thanksgiving postcard from a relative which doesn't address you as a doctor and you are a doctor, you should just return it to sender, and things of that nature. And it's a really you would really enjoy his feed, because he's managed to successfully provoke into reply some pretty serious people, and his very nice kind of quiet brand of trolling. Yeah,
why haven't you tried to repeat this with the GM title? This seems really obvious. Just if people don't address you properly, just don't acknowledge them.
Yeah, we could do that. I think Ralph was pretty sure. This interaction there where Black just lost a bunch of time. I'm very sure he thought he can take on e4, and then he realized his queen just gets captured in the center of the board, so he did this instead. But he's not actually getting mated. I think bishop takes e5 may have been a bit hasty. I think the engines just very much were liking the idea of rook d1, bishop d4, and then kind of lining up our mating attacks slower. Whereas I think Simon thought he will find something here, and is now realizing that the pawn on e4 is a little bit too vulnerable, meaning that you can't really go knight e6 willy-nilly. So there is nothing, at least immediate, for him here. And he might have to switch to playing positionally again, which is obviously a heartbreaking development for Simon.
Yeah, but he's done it, so...
Yeah, I mean, he's perfectly capable. It's just that I'm pretty sure he thought he was giving mate. And then he just, he blitzed out bishop e5, fg, and then started thinking and realized that, no mate is to be found for some bizarre reason. Yeah, and it's it always comes back to the same point that you very much would like to play knight e6, but you pretty much never can, because knight takes e4 at some point in response will be quite strong.
Yeah, this does look kind of tricky now for white.
Yeah, because you're kind of stuck. Weirdly, I mean, you have this very beautiful knight on g5, but it only really is aimed at one square, and knight e6 is reasonably well controlled by Black, and you've also given up the control over the a file, which long term might present you with a problem. And you're also down a minute. In other news, I will just briefly take a look at what's going on elsewhere. Grishuk against Salgado is some kind of a very slow brewing game. Keimer is probably much worse against Supi. Magnus is better against Pichot. Jordan against Gawain is a kind of a strange position I can't assess. And Simon does go for it eventually. And Rook B2, if Simon finds some sequence of Queen G6 and Rook F6, he's completely winning now. So let's see if he lands on the solution here. It's not immediately obvious that it works because you have to, like, giving up the knight on E3 is a very, very striking proposition, but you just win with the Rook F6 and then E7. He has a minute, but he's done something else, and it's still very strong, but it's not the best move in the position. This probably allows Black to get to a spot where you can start flagging. Like you can play GH, Rook F6, and now Queen takes E3, and play some kind of a position, a Queen down, which is completely lost. But I don't think it's lost quickly enough so that you never have a chance to force White to demonstrate some blitzing prowess. Yeah, you have to play Rook F6 here. Whoa, okay. That's a bit of a blow.
Oh.
Yeah, Rook F6 was very strong, and instead he's gone Knight F5 immediately, and the Knight on G4 is just blocking everything, and now like there isn't even a threat. Like Rook F2 is very strong, but you don't even have to see Rook F2.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate for Simon because he found a very nice tactic there, and he couldn't really find the right way all the way through. Yeah, this is Magnus's endgame. Magnus is a pawn up. I assume he will find a way to convert this into a full point. This is the Keimer Supi game, which I thought White was better, but Black didn't manage to develop some counterplay. Knight E3 check. I don't know. We probably shouldn't have allowed Knight E3 check here. Yeah, seems like a bit of a strange choice to allow this. And Vincent actually chooses to give up the exchange, so he is now probably just straight up lost. Yeah, that's a very, very interesting. Well, interesting for the kind of the streaming value of the word. Yeah, the way the commentators use the word interesting these days to denote something which is probably not a good decision.
This would be 6 in a row for Supi.
If he does convert this into now we've lost the A pawn as well. And he also has an extra 40-ish seconds. Yeah, I think we can quite safely take on G3 even, but he decides not to. Yeah, it's still winning, but you do have to work for it because White has established this kind of a perimeter, so you have to start opening stuff up. And Magnus is, unless he manages to flag Pichot in that position, Magnus is not even better anymore. I mean, he's still going to, we don't know if he's going to play, but he's definitely going to qualify. His tournament situation is pretty safe. In the meantime, one of the more impressive pawn structures you will ever see in your life has been achieved by Gawain Jones here against Jordan. This is a pretty nice pawn structure there for Black. But he is on 12 seconds, so he probably actually is going to lose this game, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, Jordan is not going to repeat. Jordan is too much of a professional. Oh, okay, I mean, even with this, like the Rook on D3 is now gone, but yeah, Jordan, I'm guessing, is still a favorite to win this.
How does he break through? Oh, D3.
Yeah, okay. I mean, somehow, but 4 seconds, I think, is the more relevant part.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have played G2 somewhere there, and the H pawn would have queened. But whoa, okay. Yeah, the danger of pre-moving.
Yeah, he has no time.
Yeah, he has no time. Magnus's position is now this, and he is also below on time, so he should be losing this normally, like you would assume, right? But
yeah,
he's kind of quick. Yeah, no, okay. So Magnus actually loses to Alain Pichot from like this endgame, which is kind of unexpected. It's not easily winning, but you don't really expect him to win.
Soupy didn't win.
Soupy drew somehow. It kind of became a mess because his kingside collapsed and he gave a perpetual.
Okay.
Sasha won. Plichter won against Badur after we successfully jinxed yet another player. Eric Rosen has beaten Ten Hertog. So before round 11 starts, our situation is Rauf in clear first, Magnus in clear second, Supi and Dubov on 7, Grishu, Kadiban, Salgado Lopez, and Jordan on 6, and Kaimar just half a point off the cut on 5.5.
Okay. And
with 5 rounds remaining.
So Eric won his first game, which is good. So I think Simon's the only one without a win, but he does have 3 draws against pretty decent players.
Yeah, Simon's not having the greatest time of it, but it is a very, very tough field.
Tomorrow's is even tougher.
Does not feature the world champion of chess, though.
That's true. I didn't balance the groups particularly closely, so I actually don't know which group is stronger. I think this group is stronger at the top.
Yeah, I think this
the other
one is
one's stronger at the bottom.
Well, it has Lawrence.
Okay, not at the very bottom. It's weaker at the very bottom, but above Lawrence, there's a bit of a gap. That wasn't on purpose. I don't want Lawrence to have a terrible day at the office. A bad day at the office is okay, but we do have a child playing tomorrow as well.
Child.
Shreyas Royal.
He is not very old. Yeah,
I think he's 12. He's the youngest international master in England. He's 13 years old and rated 2,435.
Those are always pretty tricky. Kids with that age and that rating are extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. So we have Pishot Rosen, Gwen Jones versus Magnus, Supi Jordan, Ajiban Kaimar, Salgado Dubov, Jobava Grishuk, Rauf White against Plichter, and Ten Hertog against Simon. There was one game. We maybe should just continue watching Supi. He does seem to be playing interesting games pretty much all the time.
Yeah, I think so. I think Supi's playing incredibly well.
Yeah.
He has a tougher finish now. He's got Jordan, then Magnus, then Alan Pichot, and then Gawain, and then Eric to finish with. But
has a bit of a tougher run in, but he's in a very, very safe spot so far. As long as he doesn't bomb in the last 5 rounds really badly, he should be in a very good spot in terms of qualifying. Does everyone play everyone? Yeah, this is a proper 16 person round robin. Lord Ragey. Why does MrDodgy have that yellow filter that makes it seem like he's in secret underground bunker? It's because he is. Yes.
Exactly. I am in a bunker.
I got it. I got there almost before Dodgy confirmed that he is in fact in a bunker.
Shreyas has 1 GM Norma as well. Imagine 100 years from now, MrDodgy Invitational will be called the Wimbledon of online chess. I think so. I think that's where we're going.
Yes.
I have big plans for the next 25 years.
Vikram Krishnan says, can we have rules that only Dodgy openings can be played next time? Albin, Chigorin, Pierce, Schliemann, Central Gambit, Wing Gambit. They're doing an approximation of it this year, honestly. I mean, I'm not sure what will happen tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow, looking at the field, tomorrow might be a bit of a try-hard day. But this group of people are absolutely having a blast playing all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I think mandating those types of things is actually less interesting than just letting people kind of freestyle it. But yeah, we're getting a very close approximation of it today.
I mean, I think most of the weird openings people have been playing don't actually have names.
Yeah.
It's just H4 with a number beside it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and the number is kind of low, low single digits. I think the record so far has been 4, maybe 5. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 both times.
Is there going to be a bunch of 16 fishes that are going to turn up tomorrow? I don't think there's any fishes tomorrow except for one.
Yeah, and you're watching him commentate.
I was going to say someone else, but
yeah,
not Lawrence, obviously.
Shall we spoil actually kind of tell people what the lineup is, or?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so the lineup on my screen is Yesipenko, Sevian, myself, Elianov, Jorge Corey, Iturizaga, Paravan, Grachov, Mahamat Muradli, Andrew Tang, Laurent Fressinet, Salem Saleh, Shreyas Royal, Kirill Shevchenko, Maxime Lagarde, and then our dearest friend LT, bringing up the rear, so to speak.
Yeah, so there was some qualifiers on Lichess, and the qualifiers are all going to play tomorrow. So that's Parabian, Grachev, Andrew Tang, and Mohamed Muradli.
Different bunch of qualifiers, I have to say.
So
then
yeah,
who will
Andrew Tang,
commentate?
there's no
Yeah.
berserking, so I don't know how Andrew's going to do.
Yeah.
But there is no increment, so
yeah,
he might just flag everyone.
I
anyway.
actually watched something which was like the funniest. I mean, once again for a given value, but I enjoyed it greatly. There was a party after the St. Louis events concluded at, I think, Eric Rosen's house actually, and at some point Jan Nepomniachtchi, who wasn't at his effervescent best at the time, he was a bit kind of aggrieved with things and stuffs. He started kind of forcing people into like weird handicaps. Like he, I can't really say force, because he didn't really force me, but he very strongly suggested to me that I must play bullet against me with rook odds. And we played some bullet with rook odds, and I didn't do as well as I assumed I would, because you actually end up having to play a game of chess, and I'm just much slower than he is. And this is kind of spoiling the story, but people weren't really watching. It was just me being kind of progressively getting more and more upset by, first of all, having to do it, and then secondly, not winning with a clean sheet, and maybe not even winning like outright, because I kept on doing really stupid stuff. And then he suggested the same deal to the Penguin. And Andrew just looked at him very, very strangely. And at first, of course, said no, and Jan kept on insisting. So Andrew said, sure. And they sat down, and I think Andrew was white, and they were just playing, and Andrew is just playing this very relaxed game. He's a rook up. He is, of course, completely winning from move 1, so who cares? But the game is not ending, because Jan is somehow finding a way to keep it afloat. And then they are like down to 10 seconds, and Jan is obviously kind of speeding up and gearing himself towards like obviously what the end game is, winning on time. And Andrew just looked up at him in kind of shock and said, "You're trying to flag me." And it was just absolutely hilarious to me, because I think he like genuinely thought Jan was doing this to prove that he can beat him with rook odds, which really wasn't the point at all. Like Jan wasn't suggesting that he is better than him with rook odds. He was just saying like, "Come on, I can actually do this so that it becomes a clog bang." But yeah, that like genuine amazement on Andrew's face when he realized that no, this is not a game of chess. This is now going to be like a straight up speed contest. It was a sight to behold. I don't know. I get very amused by very unamusing things, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's incredible. Like when he played in the qualifier, I watched a lot of his games, and like basically he gets to an end game and then you're lost, because
yeah,
you have no chance. It's like he will just flag you. He's incredible. Like it's an art form, the kind of flagging he does. It's not just he moves very quickly. He knows exactly which kind of end games to go for, and you're not going to trade everything off. So like you die.
It's an art form, yeah. And he has spent obviously time perfecting it. And yeah, I mean, he's also a very strong player. Like those things are not mutually exclusive. But yeah, incredibly good at this particular aspect. In the meantime, feels like Jordan is kind of slightly outplaying Supi here. In particular, if you kind of cave in and take on g6 and bring that knight to g6 with a tempo, what you should do, I assume, is get the queens off as quickly as possible and try to hold some endgames.
So I'm being asked, there are some questions in the chat that I ignored. Who's going to commentate tomorrow? So you said you're busy tomorrow?
Yeah,
okay.
Sadly.
I think it's going to be me and Simon commentating tomorrow. And then after that, it will be me and Jan. Jan returns from his mysterious travels that we don't know where he is and we're not supposed to say.
Well, I think he's already playing, so maybe we can we?
I don't
also
know.
You announced it on Twitter, so
yeah, I had to delete that. So
okay.
Maybe you shouldn't bring it up again.
Okay.
Peter.
Okay. 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 I am not keeping up with the Joneses on exactly what gets deleted and what doesn't get deleted on your Twitter.
Trent still committed to GM, or is he shifting to a pro chess boxing career? I think he should be a professional chess boxer. Do you think Lawrence is going to win his chess boxing?
I think he's a favorite in the boxing part, but like it might boringly actually come down to the chess part, in which I don't think he is a favorite. But I also don't think he is a huge underdog in the blitz. Honestly, I think he is a very dangerous blitz player who gets easily underestimated, as I'm very much on the record doing, not even saying, but doing. So yeah, I think he might be. I think he's going to win. I think he looks in tremendous shape. Yeah, he's been he started boxing quite seriously way before this was even announced. It's been something that he's been doing for the past, I don't know, 3, maybe I want to say maybe even 5 years. And he got himself into very decent fighting shape for this. He also does a lot of salsa, which I'm sure is information which is much needed.
I think that's needed. It means he's good on his feet. It means he could be world champion at the chess dancing championship.
So yeah, the chat disagrees with us quite vehemently and says Aman will win for sure, and he has very good footwork and things. I don't know. The thing is, and I think Lawrence was even complaining about this at some point, that we don't actually know how good Aman is as a boxer, because he is not really publishing any of them viral videos of him.
No, Rosen has won a game, a second game, I think.
Excellent.
Oh, he's won 2 in a row. Excellent.
We approve. Grishuk is in trouble against somebody, against Badur. Okay, against Badur, you're allowed to be in trouble. Okay, he's no longer in trouble. Would be interesting to see Paul Borta dancing. No, it wouldn't be. Trust me, it wouldn't be at all. No.
Come to Sitges. You will see Peter dancing. I guarantee it.
What?
I don't know. Is there not a dancing activity on one of the days? There should be.
Ooh.
For you. And everyone.
Yeah.
I got told that I should talk about Sitges more, so we should do that at some point.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about how there will never be any dancing at Sitges. Very important to make that very, very abundantly clear. Okay, no dancing.
So Sitges, there might be some dancing. It's not totally clear at the moment what's going to happen.
Peter, do you know anything about Yagi Zerdogmos? He is 2450 at 11, and I made a kind of a hard stop there because I had a feeling that I just got huge arsed, but maybe not.
No, you did not. Is this Turkish kid?
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like that. Magnus apparently lost. Yeah, Magnus lost to Gawain. Magnus seemed to be doing okay out of the opening. And then things have gone a bit off. Yeah, that collection of light pieces on the king side is not inspiring much confidence. So yeah, that's round 11 done.
The Dr. Penguin says the only thing he knows is that Peter and Jan will be commentating.
Yes, that's
but there's so much more. You can come to Sunway Chess.
Yes.
Sponsored by Chessable. It starts on the 11th of December and runs until the 22nd of December. There will be, I don't know, loads of players.
Yes. I think Yuan Yi is the frontliner, and then a couple of good friends of mine are.
No. Nobody cares about that. I'm going to be playing in the Open.
Yes.
I'm currently seeded out of 297 players. I'm seeded. Hang on, I need to scroll quite a long way. 200. I'm out of the top 200. And the top players are Yang Yi, Ivan Cheparinov, Alexienko, Espenko, Ivanchuk, Korobov, Shichenko, Demchenko. No Donchenko, though. Which saddens me greatly.
Yeah.
There are 39 Grandmasters of chess.
That is
fun stuff.
Very nice, unfortunately not prime number of Grandmasters of chess. There should be 2 more
Grandmasters
of chess.
In December, and the weather will be nice.
Let's find a couple of more Grandmasters.
And if you're a Chessable Pro member, you can enter the tournament for free.
That is actually kind of good.
Which saves you quite a lot of money, I think. I don't know how much money. I'm a Chessable Pro member, so the price for me was free.
That is a good deal. And also today apparently is Black Friday.
It is also Black Friday, which means there are Black Friday deals on everywhere.
Including the websites we are proudly representing here for less than half the price.
It will never be cheaper.
Yes.
I think our ad has crashed the stream.
It is very possible, but now we're back apparently.
Okay, we're back. Good. Good time. Okay. So we need to start the whole ad from the beginning. So, Sunway Sija.
Yes. We will do a more, what's the word? Natural progression towards the sellout a bit later. Can't really be done right now when we're waiting for the very, very exciting 12th round to start. In round 12, we have Eric Rosen, who is on a bit of a bounce back track. He won 2 in a row. Is white against Simon Williams. Kamil Plichta is white against Dan Hertog. Grishuk Mamedov is a very interesting game. Dubov Jabava is a good game. Kaimar Salgado, Jorg van Forest is white against Adiban. Magnus, who I think lost 2 in a row now, is white against Supi, and also Pichot is playing against Gwen Jones. So for me, it's either Grishuk Mamedov or the Magnus Supi game. You pick.
I would go with Eric Rosen against Simon Williams.
Your wish is, as usual, my command.
Because there's a reasonable chance either of them could win this game. And I would like to see both of them win, which is probably not possible.
Yeah, not in online chess. Yeah, you occasionally get, although even over the board chess, you get some 0-0 results, but you don't really get very many 1-1s. I have seen some 0-0s over my long and respectable.
Hang on, Nightbot's doing the ad for us. Nightbot says, how does 12 days of chess on the beach, beer tastings, and many other fun activities with some of the world's top GMs sound? Find out how at chessable.com/Sunway. Okay, that was the ad.
That was a very good ad, yeah. And Simon is playing some kind of a double fianchetto, to which Eric says, I don't care that my central pawn is hanging, I'm giving mate here. All very much on point.
More h4, more good.
Yes, more better. It's interesting that Simon is pausing so much when seemingly there's a central pawn up for the taking. But yeah, there we go, knight c3, and the bishop will go somewhere. My expert prediction is after knight c3, we'll play the bishop somewhere, but I'm currently torn. Whoa, knight c3 hasn't even been played. Interesting. So we're playing it now. And my question is, in reply, do we go bishop g6 or bishop b7? I think bishop g6 because queen h5 is kind of annoying. And whoa, and Eric goes completely all out and says, I've given up one central pawn to the bishop. Let's go completely berserk and give up the second one as well.
Those bishops will look like good central pawns.
Yeah, I'm not sure I endorse. I would like to have at least some central pawns remaining. Being a boring old git and all that. It feels like it will be difficult to justify, since we only really have one quote-unquote attacker, that queen on g5, and it's not really all that scary.
Yeah, Eric's going all in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I knew this was the right game.
Yeah, it was never not the right game. In the meantime, the game I was trying to argue for might just end in a... Although maybe Sasha is better. Maybe it's not true. Maybe Sasha can continue. I thought he might just give a perpetual right here and now, but maybe not. Doesn't matter, since it's not on screen. I still like Simon's position here quite a bit, with him being up a pawn and all that. And Eric is also pausing now, having completed his gambit, which is never the greatest of news.
No, you should keep running headfirst down the tunnel.
And Sasha actually does go for the perpetual. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of curious. I was just wondering, aren't you better here with white after bishop takes b7? But I guess he disagrees and just goes for this, which will be a draw now. So back to this position. Yeah, we just take on c3. We never want to be, even thinking about knight b5, knight d5 shenanigans. Black has a very, very solid position now. The bishop on g6 cementing the king side. The queen can come out via e7 or f6. Knight comes out to c6. You castle long. You're basically in clover here as black. How many qualify? Yeah, it's a top 8. It's a top 8 qualifying. So seemingly a very generous cutoff, but even that is, as we're watching right now, people on above 50% are not at all guaranteed to qualify as things stand.
Yeah.
So
currently, Jordan and Gawain are outside of the top spots. Oh no, Jordan sneaks back in now. Did he just win? Yeah, he just won.
Magnus's game. Yeah, Jordan won a very quick game against Adiban. Somehow just seems like something has gone badly wrong. Magnus's game is very exciting. We should actually go here. Yeah, like this used to be a very quiet position, and then like somewhere here, it seems like black is doing completely fine. And then so we played queen a5, e5, knight h5, and suddenly this happened. Rook c3, and now BC was also completely fine, but Magnus goes with queen d2. Because if rook c5, we have the b2 b4 move, and the knight continues hanging in every single position. So I guess Magnus is in control, in as much as I can tell.
Yep, it looks like Supi's probably going to lose this one. He's still pretty comfortable.
Yeah, he's still doing. Yeah, he was in the tie for second before this round started. So yeah, he is quite safe. Whoa, and Eric is suddenly much better. He was just straight up winning a moment ago, according to the machine, but bishop a6 gave some of the advantage away. Yeah, specifically because knight c4 takes c5 takes f3. Black will be required to sacrifice an exchange, but I think getting rid of this bishop on e5 is a huge big deal. So how did we get here? So we were here, and then Black just gave up the pawn on c7, and then played knight a5. Now knight e5 was very strong, but it wasn't played. And yeah, there we have it. The position I was talking about, knight f3 takes. We can pick up the pawn on c2, or we can say it's not very relevant and just ignore it. Queen c5 seems like a blunder, though, because before trading the queens, we can even take on d7 first, and then those endgames are just seemingly completely lost. Yep.
Oof.
Yeah. Simon will feel that there was a very, very nice opportunity to actually win a game.
Yeah, Simon does end the last two rounds against Grischuk and Dubov.
Yeah.
Which is not probably the ones you're expecting to pick up points, but you never know. But Eric does seem like he's going to win 3 in a row now, which is good.
Yeah, Eric is doing quite well. Yeah, not a lot to watch here. I mean, Eric is on 1 minute and 14, which is not a lot of time, but the position is pretty simple, and he is an experienced blitz player. So you would, as long as he doesn't take on a5 here, yeah, and that pitfall has been avoided. In the meantime, Vincent Keimer won the final position is kind of cute because, I mean, he probably was better even earlier, but actually, no, he wasn't even better. And then Salgado played bishop f8 and suddenly queen g5, and there's just no stopping the queen landing on d8 with mate. Not even check. Yeah, Ten Hertog is beating Plichter, and there seems to be something wrong with the transmission here because this position has been stuck for quite some time, and the clock seems to suggest that maybe Dubov had a bit of a DC. He is doing sort of well enough in the tournament that he can maybe even DC a game somewhere and still qualify, but obviously never nice to see this happen. Yeah, Magnus is just pretty much a full piece up. He should be able to convert from there. I'm just trying to figure out what to watch. Yeah, if Eric doesn't win from here, he'll be very upset. But it is becoming a little bit touch and go because yeah, he hasn't won yet, and it's down to 40 seconds each. So yeah. The problem for Simon is that you probably actually have to play knight takes a4, or this is straight up a queen. And yeah, this is, yeah, rook takes d1, I guess ends the game, but it hasn't happened. Both players kind of missing that. And I guess Eric has seen it now. Yeah, Eric, very experienced. This goes back to f2, says, can you please do it again, sir? And again, it does happen.
Yep. Okay. 3 in a row for Eric. It's good for him. Not ideal for Simon, but
yeah, Simon's not really having the best of tournaments. Yeah, Magnus is completely winning. This is not very exciting to watch, although he's on 16 seconds. So if Supis could somehow, keep the game afloat for a bit longer, it may have become a bit interesting, but not anymore. 15 seconds is probably even enough for me in this position.
Yeah, it's pretty much mate. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we seem to have a problem with the Dubov Jabava game, and the only other game running is this one, which is not very exciting either, because White quite obviously is. Although 13 seconds, I mean, this is a good move actually, King of 7, but the question is, are you winning this on 12 seconds? Against 7, maybe you are, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't really be very confident. Take on b2, yeah, very good. Now maybe you don't win, but at least you don't lose, yeah.
Can't
Do
do
you
this in
actually
5
win?
seconds.
I mean, some people definitely can. I'm not one of them. I think it probably ends up being a draw. Or maybe not. No, now he wins, I guess, yeah. Because he can pre-move the rest.
Very professional. So I'm not sure what's happened in the Dubov-Yobaba game. Oh, it seems to be back now.
Okay, so that actually postpones the
No.
round a little bit, I assume.
No, it's not back.
No. So with that game still unfinished, yeah, our situation is Ralph is on 9 out of 12, Magnus on 8.5, Supi on 8. Dubov probably will also end up being on 8 because, I mean, if we assume it's on his side, unfortunate as it is, there's not really very much you can do apart from just, awarding the game to whoever stayed online the longest.
I'm just trying to see if. Yeah, I don't have any information.
And we got rated by Lula, which we appreciate a great deal. Hello to all the Lula viewers.
Thank you for the raid.
Yep. Welcome, welcome.
Can't believe you streamed when we were doing this. It's very shocking.
Oh, game is back on, seemingly.
Oh, the game's back. Okay. So this might delay the next round then.
Or they could just actually go 95 HP2, I think. Oh, no.
Okay.
No, Badur says no such thing. Let's play. Which is understandable because he needs to win some games to give him a chance of qualifying. He probably needs to win maybe the rest to have a chance of qualifying because he really isn't doing very well. At some point, he was mounting a bit of a comeback, but he's had some
he does play
unfortunate...
Magnus in the last round.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he lost 2 in a row. He was actually doing... He was on 4.5 out of 9, which is not a qualifying score, but a kind of a nice platform from which to mount a challenge for the qualifying spots. But then he lost to Plichta and to Grishuk, which obviously is a drawback. And he has Dubov, Keimer, and Magnus, and also Jordan. So yeah, not the easiest last 4 rounds in existence.
Yeah, but I could see him winning all 4 games. So it could definitely happen.
Yeah, he is definitely one of the people in this tournament who could score, 4 out of 4 against those people on his day, but he's not favored to do that. And here he is back to being completely fine. I think at some point he may have been in a bit of trouble, but as long as he finds a good way of dealing with the bishop takes h6 threats, he should be perfectly safe. You would like to find a way to prepare bishop b6, which is why bishop b7 is a bit awkward, because this makes it much harder to play bishop b6 in a comfortable fashion, because you would of course like to be doing it when you can recapture with the rook. Queen g3 is a very okay, and both of them is queen g6. This is kind of shocking, honestly. How do both of them miss queen g6? And I'm guessing now both of them have seen queen g6, because Dubov instantly plays queen g3 again, and Badur says, "Nah, I have to think now."
Nah, he's not going to play again.
No, yeah, King of 8 is a right way to go about things, and Black is once again a couple of tempi away from stabilizing. Like you trade the pair of rooks, you play bishop d6, bishop b6, or something like that. And as usual in these types of structures with the pawns on c6 and b5 in particular, this is just such a stupid piece. If it wasn't some kind of a good square like d3, for instance, or even f3, where you could maybe aim it at h4 and f5 squares, white would probably be quite a bit better. But the way things are, it is very much about this knight being completely out of play. And the thing we were trying to outpace, we have not managed to outpace.
What were we trying to outpace?
The game against the colonials.
Oh, we don't speak about that. I don't think anyone's interested, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is where people come to escape from football.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you scale your chessboard online? Do you prefer it full screen or as small as possible? No, I generally like the default setting. I think on pretty much every single website I play on, I just use the default setting, which would be, I guess, half the size of the screen or thereabouts.
Have you ever tried making a smaller chessboard so that you can move quicker?
No, like the idea of making it as large as possible, I can sort of understand. Making it as small as possible, like I have issues with mouse slips as is. I don't really need to give myself more of a chance to put stuff on wrong squares.
No, it was a genuine question. I think Wesley said he does it. He makes the board smaller, which I've never tried it. I usually stick with the default setting as well. But I wondered if it was worth doing.
Not for me, but yeah, for people who have, trust in their, small motor functions.
Fair enough.
Maybe. Yeah, for me, it's a very frightening proposition. Yeah, queen d6 is a very strange way to try to play for a win here, because you just have to go back to c7 here or b8, and you just, whoa. Dubov really is trying to make a draw in this game for some reason. I don't really know why.
I think it's because he's in 4th place.
Well, yeah, but it's a pleasant position.
Yeah.
And Badur, I think by this point indicated quite heavily that he's not interested. Just play. And also, I think Dubov is generally in a pretty decent spot. He also has games with Ten Hertog and Simon coming up, which are reasonably safe games in the context of this tournament. So, yeah, he is taking a bit of a overcautious line. I don't really associate with him, but not really a mistake as such.
Daniel did ask me if there was any reason that he should try and finish first rather than just finishing in the top 8. And I said, well, you'll probably get an easier pairing in the knockout. And he said, who cares?
Yes. Precisely.
I should have expected that.
Yeah. Yeah, and eventually Badur actually forced him to play chess here by kind of ruining his position quite significantly. But I think Daniel, he probably thinks bishop d5 is winning here, but rook d8 exists. So yeah, he has to kind of pivot. The bishops still provide him with ample compensation for the pawn, but you can actually definitely imagine losing this with white. Yep. Things are not going to plan. I mean, he's fine, but it's a sharp endgame, and okay, he is now better in the very sharp endgame. Things are changing. I should just stop pretending I can predict what will happen in this game. Daniel is now back to being completely winning for some reason.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough one for Bader.
I mean, he did what he had to, but
Yeah.
the outcome is not going to be. I mean, provided he doesn't win by flagging, not flag, but yeah, looks like this is going to be ending in a victory for. Yeah, it's actually a drawn queen ending with 5 seconds for both. Yeah, queen e4 check. Come on. Yeah, thank you. Kind of fair.
Yeah, that was very fair.
Kind of fair for in as much as the concept of fairness exists in chess.
I mean, Dano did try and get his draw pretty hard. So
yeah, he's been asking for it for like 30 moves straight somewhere in the mid game. And that finally concludes round 12. With 3 rounds to go, our situation is Dubov is in clear second now, I think.
Ralph is just crushing. He only lost to Magnus and the guy who beat Magnus.
Yeah. Ralph is doing really, really well. Yeah.
I have to be honest, Ralph was quite
and the round already started.
Oh, okay.
So,
Ralph was quite a late entry because he's just finished at the World Team Championships. So I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play because, I mean, Azerbaijan could have easily got to the final and he would be
absolutely,
playing at the moment.
yeah.
But fortunately for me, he gets to play my tournament.
Yep. Much more important and/or prestigious. No immediate candidates for must watch. We haven't watched any of the
Ralph against Dubov.
Ralph against Dubov is interesting. Yeah, Adiban tried playing the B3 cowboy stuff against Magnus and is now playing some kind of a very normal, Queen's Indian type position. So
I think he played B3 against Grishchuk as well. I think you got a draw.
Yeah, Ralph against Dubov would have been kind of exciting, but it's this position. So
okay, moving on.
I don't know how excited we are about that. Yeah.
Okay, let's watch Adiban against Magnus because there's a board full of pieces and stuff's gonna happen.
It feels like this should be very much Magnus's wheelhouse more than it is Adiban's, because I don't think Adiban is kind of a natural Queen's Indian player. I think he does other things with white, generally speaking, and Magnus. Although it's also not entirely his repertoire opening. I'm pretty sure he's looked at more Queen's Indians in his life than Adiban did. And just generally, I think Black is kind of better positioned for the arising middle game here.
Magnus is taking the hoodie off. He must be trying to win.
Yeah. Eldezay says, Magnus isn't cuddly anymore. How dare you?
Speaking of cuddly, they're currently 60% off Chessable.
Yeah. I was wondering whether this was a Chessable ad or a Sijus ad.
I did check, and your Chessable course is also 60% off. Because not all the courses are 60% off, but quite a few of them are.
Never a better time to pick up an exciting and vibrant new opening for Black. Such
King's
as
Indian?
Such as the King's Indian.
Both parts of your Grunfeld course are currently on sale for up to 60% off, which is a lot of money. I mean, still a lot of money. But you save a lot of money.
Yes. And a penny saved is a penny earned. I think. I've heard somewhere.
Speaking of saving pennies.
Yes.
I can't do it every time. That one was too close to being an actual segue, so no, I don't like it.
Yeah. Did you say Caracan? That's a vibrant defense. Hey, Bunny, how you doing? Penny saved is still just a penny, says Groovy Money. And I mean, who is better to opine on the subject rather than somebody called Groovy Money?
Okay, but if you save 60% of all your pennies for the entire month, that's a lot of pennies.
Absolutely. Some weird shuffling going on. At some point, I felt like Magnus might just play g5 and start blowing stuff up on the queens on the king side, but he instead is just maneuvering kind of slowly and not really doing anything definitive just yet. As somebody pointed out, Adiban at some point in this game just took about a minute to make a somewhat non-committal move, which is generally something you don't want to be doing against Magnus, because giving him such a time advantage without really changing the course of the game or surprising him by a decision too much is generally, I would say, not the best strategy, but it seems to be kind of working out okay for Adiban because they're back to parity on the clock. And Adiban also now, the bishop will come to b2, and that knight on d4 is extremely, extremely well protected. Or bishop b3 even, exactly, yeah. Now that we have that option, we can even put it on e3. The trick is to save pre-1982 pure copper pennies that are worth 3 pennies, and then move to a European country where it is not a crime to melt them, and then stonks. Finally, people making perfect sense in our chat, giving valuable life advice.
Melt them down, sell them, and then once you've got $49, you could buy a 1-year premium membership to chess24.com in their Black Friday deal. There's another deal as well, but I lost it.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 years for $119. That's even cheaper.
That's even cheaper, yeah.
I think it used to be about $119 for a year.
At some point, yeah. I don't think it ever was 120, but it definitely was 100 at certain points in the past.
It's pretty close.
Yep.
I always used to think Chess24 membership was too cheap. I think there's too many video series.
Too cheap.
Just too cheap. And now it's even cheaper. Because, there's a lot of video stuff on there.
Yeah. I once had
$49 for a whole year.
Yeah, and Magnus is now, like, the edition became a unholy mess, but Magnus seems to be doing quite well because White looks like you're threatening something on the king side, but you're not really. And 93 is kind of an annoying thing to have to deal with on every move. So looks like Magnus is probably assuming some sort of control here.
Dang, this guy is linking literally anything to buy Chessable course. Speaking of Chessable courses, Chessable Sunway Seat Chess starts next month.
Yes, absolutely.
You guys should go because Jan and Peter are going. I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is MrDodgy a horse rider? He is for the purposes of taking pictures.
I have ridden precisely one horse in my life.
And that
one time.
One time for the one time.
One time for the one time.
Yes.
That's how Chess24 got doomed, because Chess24 management thought like MrDodgy. No, they usually go in the opposite direction of my ideas, unless it involves me doing something stupid. And then they're on board with it suspiciously.
If Magnus finds bishop b7, the game is over instantly, which I assume he would. Oh, okay. The game is still kind of over, but bishop b7 was, I think, would actually prompt a resignation. And here, I think Adiban will attempt to give a couple of checks somewhere, but they don't really work very well because, yeah, anything wins. Bishop f8 wins, bishop f6 wins. You can't really generate too many threats here, with the queen always returning to d6 and the knight coming to like c5 and d6 if you want. So yeah, that's that game doesn't look very promising. There's a kind of a sharp position here in a game between Badur and Keimer. The game which is actually kind of relevant, because if Badur beats Keimer, Vincent definitely starts running significant risks of not qualifying. Badur can't really recover his tournament too well anymore, but he can definitely play spoil sport to people, for people.
Badur can still get to 8 points. That's probably...
Which is, yeah, doesn't really feel like it will be enough. Looking at the cross table right now, he's completely winning right now, though. Yeah, just collected everything, and you can even play h4. Nothing really is stopping you from playing h4 or rook f5, right? Yeah. 45 seconds against 12 as well, like just completely winning position and also keeping the clock very, very firmly in check.
I've been asked, could I please change the rules next time to insist that the players play dressed in chainmail and armor on a horse? I think in chainmail and armor might be doable. I think all the players on horses could provide some logistical issues.
Yeah. We could play like live chess, right? No, with the living pieces on a horse.
Not everyone can be a horse.
Not every. Yeah, I mean there's
too many horses.
No such thing as too many horses. Very nice mate being given here by Gawain Jones on what I assume were the very, very last seconds. Alain Pichot has beaten Supi, so Supi has lost a couple of games in a row. It feels like, right? Yeah, he lost to Magnus, now he lost to Alain. He's still doing quite well with the round. I think the round now is completely finished. And the standings are Ralph and Magnus are leading on 9.5 out of 13. Dubov is in third on 9. Sasha is in fourth on 8.5. Supi and Van Forest are on 8. Vincent is on 7.5. And Alain Pichot is on 6.5. And that is currently the cut, but there are 4 people on 6 points, and this is half a point below the cut actually, and one of them is Badur. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not even about him getting to 8. It's just that people have been, our cross table has stratified quite, quite well. I think Vincent on 7.5 out of 13 is pretty safe, not because he's on +2, but because nobody is really chasing him very hard. But people on 6.5 and 6 are definitely in the running.
Okay, let's pick someone around the qualification mark then.
Yeah, so we have Salgado, Badur, Gawain, and Adiban are all on 6
how about
points.
Pichot against Adiban, because they're both close.
Yeah.
Salgado has black against Magnus, so this is going to be rough for him, probably. And Gawain
is white against Supi, which is kind of relevant, but I think Supi is a little bit too safe. In terms of like the proper deathmatch type games, Pichot Adiban seems like the pick for this round. We will be keeping an eye on everything else as much as possible, but yeah, this is the one we'll try. Only 2 rounds to go, and I assume players are somehow keeping up with the tournament standings. I don't know exactly how obvious the tournament situation is for them. Once again, I'll find out tomorrow just how the UI is working for these round robins. I haven't played one on.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how the players check the standings, to be honest. Because they should only have the game open.
Yeah, you normally aren't really allowed to have any tabs open or anything. But this being the format that it is, it really is very important to know where you stand with the last couple of rounds left. So some kind of an opportunity must be provided, I feel, but I don't know how it works out technically.
Pass. I don't know.
As Peter answered the question, who would be your ideal chess boxing matchup? Do you mean me chess boxing against somebody, or just something I would definitely watch?
Both.
And I don't have the answer for either of those, but I just wanted to ask for clarification because it would give me time to stall.
Who would you most like to fight?
Someone small and not very good at chess. Like maybe, not to point any fingers here.
How dare you? So you're saying you want to punch me in the face? Like, where did this come from? Like, my answer is Karyakin. I'd quite happily fight him, but you know, if you want to say me, that's okay. Sure. I invited you here, but that's all right. I'll see you in sit chess, I guess.
Yeah, you try guilt tripping me. It doesn't work as well as it used to. Right this moment. This is a kind of a tricky position to play in the Pishot Adiban game. I thought I liked white, and I kind of still, yeah, this is a decision I disagree with. I feel like it's sort of understandable. You want to kill off the queen side and then maybe do something on the king side, but it will be very difficult to do something on the king side. And having at least the option of opening up the c file at some point, I think would have been kind of valuable. So yeah, I'm not entirely on board with this. And we are watching kind of the weight of the game being shifted towards the queen side quite heavily, which I think generally favors black because it allows you at least to open the b file and then start trading. Yeah, I have a feeling you're trying to be funny, Great Danton, but you're not really succeeding. I feel like I probably shouldn't start banning people willy-nilly, but that seemed very uncalled for.
Nah, it's fine. I would also fight the Great Danton 9. I'd be willing to chess box you, so come at me. I'll fight random members of the chat. I don't mind. As long as Lawrence isn't here.
Yeah, Lawrence is a very dangerous proposition right this moment. Yeah, this game is kind of, the stakes may have gotten to them a little bit because has become a bit staid. Having said that, yeah, you shouldn't be provoking h5, and white should have played h5 the moment it became available. Allowing knight f6 was definitely a bit of a mistake. Now this is very, very level. But there was a brief moment there after queen c7. Let me just illustrate. Yeah, the moment you get the opportunity to soften up the black king side like this with h5, it absolutely has to be taken. But it wasn't. So this is kind of dull-ish. Magnus has beaten Salgado very, very quickly. The final position doesn't look that bad, but actually is. And Magnus once again went for some kind of a b3, and here his pawn sacrifice wasn't even accepted. And I mean, this looks completely fine for black, but very soon it wasn't. Still looks completely fine for black. But yeah, that was uncalled for, and it all went kind of downhill from there. Badur is completely winning against Jordan, which is very good news for him because, yeah, we suspect if he wins too, he probably qualifies.
Yep, and last year Badur did make it all the way to the final through a ridiculous pairing run. I think he started with Grischuk. I think he beat Grischuk, Navarra, and Vidit, if I remember correctly, but then lost the final to Anish. But yeah, previous finalist.
Yeah, I mean, Badur, we all know Badur is an extremely, extremely dangerous player. He will win this game because knight on d7 is actually gone now. has no more squares, will be attacked by rook d8 and just picked up. So this game is effectively over. So Badur will actually break into 50% after starting with 0 out of 3. So he'll get back to 50 in round 14. And will play for some of the marbles in the last round. And in the last round, he will have white against Magnus.
Oh,
not the easiest pairing when you might have to play that game for a win, right? You draw might not be enough. Still not a ton. Adiban is trying to achieve something. I assume he could have just shuffled, and it's very difficult to imagine how white makes any progress. But I think f7, f5 in particular is, if anyone welcomes this development, it's white, not black. So Adiban is sort of trying to change the structure of the game in favor of his opponent just to get a game, which the tournament situation sort of requires. So it's difficult to criticize, but not the best.
yeah.
Supi, in the meantime, seems to be completely winning against Gwen Jones.
Yeah, so
recovering from some stumbles.
So Gawain will probably struggle.
Yeah, Gwen goes to -2, and yeah, will not qualify from here. Just to bring it up, yeah, basically you can take on h4, or you can take knight h4 and then queen g5. You just resign here. Yeah, this is still the most relevant game in terms of our fight for 8th, and Alain now is significantly better because this queen is very, very difficult to smoke out, and now knight b3 even wins material. Yeah, you can take on a5. You can do pretty much whatever you please. And he's also in control on the clock, so yeah, you would assume he wins from here. If he does win from here, he gets up to 7 as no, he will be on 7.5. That's a very important game for Badur as well, because it drops Adiban back to 6. So Badur will be half a point behind Alain Pichot. Alain Pichot plays Salgado in the last round and might only need a draw. This is kind of bad for our intrigue, honestly, because a situation where even a win against Magnus with white might not be enough for Badur is kind of not what we want to see for the last round. And everybody else is pretty much safe.
Yeah, it does look like.
Hang on. Queen b6 was a kind of a large mistake there, because the b-pawn doesn't actually queen. Instead of queen b6, you could have just played f takes g and win, but he went queen b6 immediately, probably missing that this is not a queen. And I mean, it looks very promising, but the position is so closed, and the h-pawn is, well, okay, so he's back to being winning somehow. I spoke too soon. Black should never have taken on h4. I think the trick is black could have just stayed on h6 and g6 squares and done nothing for the rest of the game. And let's say even after bishop e8, we always have the knight moves. And white cannot really force any kind of an opening on the king side. But after g takes h4, the h5 pawn falls. And once the h5 pawn falls, black obviously can no longer hold this position.
Okay, so that is all the games finished. And
yeah,
one more round.
Yeah, we only have one more round to go. And the situation, I think, is as I described, right? Badur is on 50%, but Alain Pichot is on +1, half a point above him.
Yeah,
and qualifying as things stand.
But Keimer and Jordan can be caught as well by Badur.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So the situation is Magnus is leading on 10.5. Then we have Dubov and Mamedov on 10, Grishuk on 9.5, Supi on 9. All of these people are mathematically safe. But then we have Keimer and Jordan on 8, Pichot on 7.5, and Badur on 7. And Keimer is playing against Ten Hertog, so he is probably the safest in terms of pairings and points of all of these people. Jordan is on 8 points, but is playing against Ralph. Ralph doesn't really need anything, so this might not be the most exciting game ever. But if Ralph decides to play, Jordan might very well lose. And we also have Jabal versus Carlsen, of course.
Okay, so we know what the game is that we're going to watch. This is not in doubt.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Badur, even if he does beat Magnus, it's kind of out of his hands. He will be on 8 points, and he will have to have the results go his way. He probably needs Ralph to beat Jordan. And if Ralph beats Jordan, he catches up to Jordan, and then he needs, if Alan loses to Salgado, then Badur qualifies. But yeah, there's a lot of kind of moving parts to this equation, obviously. We'll try to keep an eye on things as...
Hang on, there's a very important message in chat. Vanguard 3K says, "Hi, no offense. I'm just here to ask if there's a Chess24 discount code flying around here somewhere." Now there is a discount code, but if you go to chess24.com, you can save 50%. No, I don't know what the price was.
Potentially even more than 50%, yeah.
Maybe more than 50%. But if you go to chess24.com, it's $49 for a year and $119 for 3 years, which is the highest ever discount, probably.
Probably.
If you say probably, you can kind of lie.
Reportedly, yeah.
As far as I'm aware,
one as well.
it's the highest ever discount.
Yes.
So go buy the stuff.
The word reportedly has been, yeah. And
that
Ralph,
wasn't an ad, by the way, so none of this hashtag ad stuff. I'm just reading chat.
Yeah, and Ralph made a very quick draw against Jordan, so Jordan is safe. And then basically, yeah, Badur is in trouble. Badur needs to win, and then he needs Pichot to lose. That basically is it. Or maybe he needs to, if Badur draws and Pichot loses, Badur might be okay on tie breaks. I don't know what the tie breaks are, maybe you know. Yeah, one game that isn't over in a 3-minute draw, 3-second draw is this one. Oh yeah, these guys are having a blast. So this is G4, knight G8. Yeah, Dubov is having a great time as well. Yeah, G4, knight. G4 is a serious move. Obviously, this has been played by Amidarov against Kisipenko in Fike, I think, last year. So this is an actual move you can make. But knight G8 is a kind of a very funny reaction, and yeah, they're having the absolute time of it here. Who knows what this is? Yeah, some kind of a mess. I assume White is doing well, but yeah, whatever. Not anymore. That's a full rook that Simon just left on Priz.
He's not going to take the rook.
Maybe not. Yeah, but you kind of have to. He did take the rook. Yeah. So this is the Salgado Pichot game, and shockingly, right this moment, the evaluation on my screen said -2 after the move e6, e5 with the threat of bishop g4 and then knight d4. But Pichot instead went for this position, which is still good for black, but nowhere near as crushingly good as it was just this moment. Whoa, okay. Magnus is doing some funky stuff as well. So c3, queen a5 exists, but then it continued bishop g2, knight e5, g3, queen a6, c4, queen d6, bishop f1, g6, and yeah. Once again, do not be doing this at home. But it's actually not that bad. You will end up with some kind of an English opening type structure where you did kind of faff about for 10 moves and are like a bunch of tempi behind. But the structure in general is so safe for black that you're not going to be doing all that poorly.
Yeah, this looks like a game.
Yeah, it definitely does look like a game, and I mean, structurally, black is just doing extremely well. It's just that once again, you are supposed to already have like a knight on f6, and you're supposed to have castled, and and you still have to do all of these things here. But you're very, very sound positionally, and the only real way for white to, get anything at all in this types of structures is to go all out for mate, which I think is what Badur will quite happily attempt here with like Queen f2, g4, and like f5, and the typical Grand Prix type stuff. There really isn't very much else. And this is also, I think, why Magnus is currently not castling. He has castled now, but he spent as much time as possible kind of playing with the idea of maybe not castling kingside and waiting for white to overcommit. But yeah, Badur is absolutely obliged to go all out for some kind of a mating attack like this. The issue is it isn't really a mating attack. Black, even if, let's say, white gets to play g4, g5 and black still hasn't done anything about it, yeah, you can just vacate the premises with the g7 bishop like this. I would have waited for g5 though. My argument was you can play something like, I don't know, whatever you want to play here. I don't know, rook a b8, wait for g5, and then play something like bishop d4. And really a 5 f6 is not that much of a threat. If we have to, we can always play h5 just so that we never blunder something like this, put the king on h7 and just the way he's done it, there's now a bishop on h6, which is a bit annoying. So I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, but bishop c1 is not something to be horribly afraid of. Badur clearly wants to play knight e2, but the machine was actually suggesting you can do it without protecting the pawn on b2 because just getting knight to knight f4 is more important. This is a very, very fighting game, obviously, with the bishop now being removed from the board, and now we can also start pushing further on the king side.
Hang on, we've finished the Twitch poll, and the chat says you should fight Magnus.
Okay.
At Chessbox.
So basically, Twitch chat is saying they want me dead, which I think is fair. Like, I mean, the idea is, I mean, it definitely has certain appeal, but still, yeah. Thank you.
Would Magnus be your pick as, say, 2650 plus chess boxing world champion?
I mean, he's definitely up there. I mean, he's in kind of prime physical condition, and also is supposedly kind of good at chess. So I mean, he's definitely in the mix. I don't know if maybe you can find somebody who would. Yeah, honestly, I think just yes, right?
I think so.
Who would you pick over him? Like, what would even be a
I don't know. I
counter-argument?
like Duda looks like he's in pretty good shape. I feel like he could be a decent boxer.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
He's a bit younger.
Somewhat younger Sasha would be an interesting name to drop into that conversation, but I think he's slowed down.
But yeah, Magnus was my pick. We've discussed this at length
Hmm.
on the other place where I stream. Many times.
Yeah, and Magnus is sort of assuming control here because, yeah, with the knight on e6, you just pretty much never get mated. It's just going to be very, very difficult to even create a threat. So sadly for Badur, I think his run kind of ends here. Pichot is actually maybe losing to Salgado. It's definitely not impossible to imagine Pichot losing that position to Salgado, but unfortunately, the way this one is going, it's probably not going to be enough. Yeah. Kind of sad, but yeah, Badur left himself a little bit too much to do there towards the end of the tournament.
But there's a possibility that Magnus will not play the knockout as well. So
yeah,
could still be relevant.
Yeah, but he needs not to lose though, because if he loses, he drops down to where, let's say, Salgado overtakes him for 9th. That's the kind of a big issue here for Badur in terms of trying to qualify like that.
Salgado
in the meantime, Supi won against Rosen. Adipan will probably win against Gwaine Jones. Yeah, Simon lost to Dubov. Yeah, this is we're watching the 2 games that we should be watching, but yeah, Badur is just, unfortunately for him, queen g4 exists. Otherwise, he would be actually saving this game, but queen g4 exists, and you have to trade queens. And once you have to trade queens, your position is just completely hopeless because your queen side is also collapsing, and there's no mating attack with the knight on e6 once again. Rook b3 is a kind of a cute draw by perpetual here, but Magnus, of course, does find queen g4. Yeah, and as I said, yeah, Salgado is now completely winning, but unfortunately for Badur, this is just entirely irrelevant with him losing to Magnus. King e5, yeah, the game is just over here. And white is even very much in control clockwise. So yeah, this actually went Badur's way, but he couldn't really find. He may have been okay with half a point there, but yeah, it didn't go his way.
Yeah, I think you have to go for it.
You know, I mean, he's absolutely done the right thing. No, you can't play that tournament situation. You can't play for a draw. There's no way. Whoa. Okay. Even that happened, which like ruins everything for him altogether because Pichot is not even losing anymore. But yeah, he wasn't qualifying.
Okay, but this still matters because he doesn't want Salgado to win.
Yeah, it's a draw.
We're all very much written for Badur here.
Yeah, so Badur actually ends in clear 9th here on -1, which is a bit surprising, but yeah.
I think Adiban can still catch him.
Oh yeah, fair. Yeah, Adiban can still catch him, and that game is still ongoing. But
and Adiban,
where is it?
Him. Yeah, Adiban caught him.
Oh, okay.
But
so
I guess whatever tiebreak Chess24 uses.
Currently on my screen it says Jubaba 9th, Adiban 10th, but I don't really know how that works. Maybe personal encounter, but yeah, personal
encounter is the first one, and Badur won.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, if Magnus can't play, then maybe Badur actually did just enough to get in, which would be good because yeah, we like Badur. And I think he adds a lot to both the flavor and the chess content of this tournament.
Yeah, well, that's the end of the day.
Sad.
So congratulations to probably Magnus, Daniel Dubov, Ralph Mamedov, Luis Apollo Supi, Alexander Grishchuk, Vincent Keimer, Jordan Van Freysen, Alan Pitchot, and possibly Badur if Magnus doesn't want to play in the knockout because he's very, very busy. Tomorrow,
and
we have more players.
Show dog. Dog.
Tomorrow, the doggo will be playing chess.
Yes. Say hi to chat, doggo.
What is the field for tomorrow? I should have it somewhere. Field for tomorrow has been changed. No. Field for tomorrow is Elyanov, Sevian, Peter Svidler, Yasipenko, Salem Saleh, Jorge Kori, Shevchenko, Iturizaga, Fresnay, Grashev, Paravian, Maxime Lagarde, the best Maxime, Mohamed Muradli, Andrew Tang, Shreyas Royal, and Lawrence Trent. I think Lawrence is going to have a rough day at the office.
Yeah, he probably is.
I did get a late message from a very, very strong player who wanted to play, and I may ask Lawrence if he wants to swap. But we'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
Okay, I think that's everything. So don't forget, go to chessable.com, buy all the courses that are 60% off. If you buy every single Chessable course that's for sale, you'll save, I don't know, millions of euros.
Absolutely.
Probably not millions, thousands at least. If you go to chess24.com, you can buy 1 year of premium membership for $49 or 3 years for $119, which is incredibly cheap. It's far too cheap. It should be more expensive than that. And finally, if you've got any money left, come to Sit Chess next month. You can see Jan, Peter, Ivanchuk, Yu Yang Yi, Ariban, Me. Learn how to taste beer and make sushi.
Make sushi.
That's one of the activities. There's going to be a sushi masterclass, a pizza masterclass, grandmaster lectures. You're going to be doing one of them, aren't you? You're going to.
I am going to be doing one of them. Yeah. We
Lots
used
of
to
fun
make our own sushi, but then we decided not to anymore.
It's on the beach near Barcelona. The sun will be shining. I've been promised the sun will shine for the entire time we're there.
What's not to like? Yeah, let's all meet there and taste some beer.
Exactly. Okay, bye everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, and welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Enjoy 12 days of chess heaven at the Chessable Sunway Sieges International Chess Festival. Escape to the sun this December and take part in the spectacular Chessable Sunway Chess Festival situated in Sieges, near Barcelona. Play alongside top GMs including Ivanchuk, Isipenko, Adiban, and more. 10-round open tournaments with over 27,000 euros in prizes. Chess lectures from GMs most days, beer tasting plus sushi, pizza, paella, and cocktail masterclasses, World Cup watch parties, table tennis, table football, and blitz chess tournaments. Even better, Chessable Pro members play for free. You can find out more by going to Sunway Siege's website. Visit chessable.com/sunway.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable. Take control of your journey towards chess. Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. Then they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
everybody.
My name is Jan Nepomniachtchi, former world chess champion.
Are starting a new course here for Chessable.
A very special Chessable course.
Master your chess with Judith Polgar.
You know what? I learned a lot.